here. It's big, and it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Live the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hanson. I'm here with Dave Tuckman. Tonight's Friday, and we're going to change it up a little bit tonight, Dave. We're going to start, I don't know how long this is going to last. Normally we do 10-20, no limit hold'em, $1,000 minimum, unrestricted buy-in. We're going to play 10-20, unrestricted buy-in, $1,000 minimum, pot limit hold'em tonight.
I am so excited about this. Pot limit is one of my favorite games. It's the game I played before no limit, and I really, really enjoy it.
So, you know, there's going to be a lot of strategy differences. One of the other things we're going to do tonight is we're going to play the button blind. That's right. We're not going to put the cards up for the button. And, you know, bear with us. It's kind of an experimental night. We're going to try to figure out what the button has. We're going to see the other person's cards against the button and see exactly what's going on.
And you guys can try to, figure it out at home, too. Pretend you're in the game. Think, oh, wow, what does this guy have on the button? What is he raising with?
Right.
Now that you don't know.
So let's head over to the table and let's get this thing started and let's introduce the players.
Let's do it. Seat number 1, we have Mo. And Mo's got a lot of money. It looks like he's got well over $3,000, probably close to $4,000. And Mo has played a lot of pot limit.
Yep.
And he has a lot of experience playing pot limit. He'll have an advantage in this kind of format. Seat number 2 is Amir. And Amir is not at the table right now. But we've seen that Amir's had a tough go of it lately.
Right.
See if he knows how to play pot limit. I'm not sure if he has much pot limit experience. Seat number 3 there is Max. Now, Max is somewhat of a gambler. I haven't played with him too much. He's got close to, I want to say, it looks like about $2,600, maybe $2,800. And I'm not sure about his pot limit experience either. Now, seat number 4 is Paul. And Paul is a seasoned pro. I mean, he's been through the ringer, played it for a long, long time. And he is really excited about playing pot limit. He thinks that, you know, his advantages will be even more so in this game. And we'll see how that works out. Seat number 5, we've got Dimitri. Anybody that knows that is Action Dimitri. He loves to gamble. I mean, this guy, he loves any 2 cards with him.
Yeah.
Seat number 6 is Barry. Don't call me Greenstein Woods. And Barry's got over $10,000 in front of him. But I'm really upset. I gave him a lucky chip, and he already cashed it in. How do you do that? Seat number 7, we've got Hollywood Russ.
Yep.
And once again, I'm not sure if Hollywood Russ has ever played pot limit in his life. We'll see. He might have. I have no idea. But he's a little bit shorter. He probably only has about maybe $1,600. Seat number 8 is Matt. And Matt's got about $2,800. And the interesting thing about Matt, he actually got bluffed out of a huge pot. Alan bluffed him out. He had 2 pair, and Alan actually bluffed him out representing a flush.
Yep.
Matt's a pretty good poker player, and I imagine that he'll be able to adapt to pot limit.
Yep.
And seat number 9 is Alan, and I would bet that he's never played pot limit in his life.
Well, let's get into the first hand here. We had a $60 or $70 raise by seat 3 with Jack 6 of hearts, and we got 6 players already. So it's a $420 pot here. And the flop comes out Queen 9-3 with a couple of diamonds.
Well, set of 9s for Paul.
And Alan's got the nut flush draw here, folks.
Now, this is a big part of the game.
Yeah.
The pot is $440. He can only bet $440, and that's exactly what he's going to bet.
Yeah, Paul is going to bet the pot. Again, we're playing 10-20 pot limit hold'em right now. He has bet the pot, so it's about an $850 pot. And Alan makes the call. And now the pot balloons up to $1,700 as we're heads up. Paul against Alan.
Wow, and there's quad 9s.
Quad 9s for Paul. Mo is not in the hand. Wow.
And actually, the pot is $1,320, right? 440, 440, 440?
You're right, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, 440, 440, 440. And Paul he's going to bet a little bit again here. He bets 500, kind of trying to tease Alan here or keep going for his flop.
Well, it's a great bet. We always talk about that. He's almost pricing him into the draw, and sure enough, he gets it.
And Alan calls. Alan checked it. Paul bet on the river, and Alan calls 2,300 to the river while Alan misses.
And no diamond there. And what is Alan going to do? Alan's going to check it. He's not going to take a shot at it.
Again, it's a $2,300 pot, so Paul could bet up to $2,300 here.
It would have been interesting if Alan tried to represent Jack 10 there.
Right.
That was the other draw out there. And I think you've got to bet this. You're not sure if he had diamonds or he had Jack 10, and you bet it hoping that he had Jack 10.
He's betting 700, and Paul is going to take it down right there. Nice pot for Paul right off the bat. As always, you can keep the show interactive by emailing us at liveatthebike.com. You can also follow a thread started on the internet. Go to 2plus2.com spelled out. Click on forums. World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments. Official Live at the Bike thread for March 30th.
Button is in seat 8, so we're not going to see Matt's cards.
Button's going to move over here to Matt. That's
Matt's
Roswell on 2plus2. And Dimitri is going to race to 70 here with pocket queens. We had a limp here by seat 3. Seat 6 is going to call with King Jack. Matt is going to call. Of course, we do not know Matt's cards. We're not going to see the Buttons cards tonight. Alan calls with pocket 7s. Amir calls with deuce 10 of hearts.
Now, when you get a limper in there, you can raise it up to $90. It's
Right.
what Dimitri made it. He made the maximum raise. Now we just have to get a guess. What would Matt call a $90 raise with? He might call a lot of raises with that.
Flop comes out ace, jack 3 with a couple of clubs. Again, the pot is about $350. And Dimitri, well, the pot's about 400, and Dimitri bets about the pot.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to bet the pot here, so it's about an $800 pot now. Now, Barry Woods has got second pair. He's going to get out of there. Max in C3 has a weak ace. He actually flopped the best hand here.
Yeah, Matt throws his hand away, so we can only guess that Matt probably called him a sort of suited connector,
Yep.
maybe with a small pocket pair. Obviously doesn't like the ace-jack flop out there, throws it away.
And Max is going to get away from ace-5 there, Dave.
Wow. Now, the only thing that I'll let you know now, we're going to obviously, during the night, try to keep you up to date with obviously what the pot is, which is very important in a pot limit game.
Right.
That's all you can bet in pot limit. We're also trying to give you some new strategies that might be different from no limit, because obviously pot limit is very different from no limit.
Right.
Now, just so you know, since the blinds are 10-20, your first raise can actually be, you can actually put it in $70, because what you're doing is you're calling 20,
Right.
which makes the pot 50, and then you can raise it up 50, so max makes 70. Now, if somebody limps in before you, well, suddenly now you can call it 20, and now you can make it 90. And obviously, if two limpers are in there, you can make it 110, and so forth and so on.
Now, Alan is in the button here. Now, we're not going to see his cards in seat 9. We got a limp here from Matt. Well, Alan folds, okay. Now, it's going to be limped around here 4 ways, so it's going to be an $80 pot to the flop. 996 here, rainbow.
Yeah, everybody's missed. I mean, everybody's pretty much got Broadway out there.
Yep.
Turns a 4 of hearts. Doesn't change anything. And the river's a 10, and that changes nothing. Your ace high is going to win this hand.
Yep.
If it goes to showdown, and sure enough it does. And Mo takes it. Now, some of the strategies that are different in pot limit as opposed to no limit, it's a little bit different in the sense of you can really kind of control pot size a little bit more.
I know, for the last 12 years you keep saying no, and for the last 12 years I keep asking you.
Button's going to move over here to seat 1, Mo.
I'm not 50-50 on the seat. You can sit down here, play half hour. I play half hour. I call. I don't know what I have. I call.
Button moves over to seat number 1. That's Mo. We're not going to see his cards this time.
Maybe I'm going to get sucked into this.
Couple of limpers. Dimitri limps in. But we don't see Dimitri's cards. We need to see Dimitri's cards. He is not on the button. We need to see his cards.
I'm going to raise.
Now, Mo is going to raise here on the button, Dave. Now, we're not going to see his cards.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 120 or 110?
You can actually make it $110 because there are 3 limpers.
Yep.
That's how you add it up.
So Mo is going to raise the pot here to 110. Now, we can see that Dimitri's got ace-queen of clubs in seat 5.
Now, he can re-raise if he wants to, and he's going
to re-raise.
So now how that works is you're calling the original 110,
Yeah.
which would then make the pot about 330, and then you can raise it 330. And he's going to make it about 400 more.
It's supposed to be a hint. It's really supposed to be a hint. Okay, I'm going to show my hand now here. no, now they're going to laugh. Now they're going to laugh. I looked at how can I show you this?
Yeah, Dimitri re-raises and takes it down.
Nice hand. Nice hand. Wow. Nice barn, man. I got 10. And then he did.
Button is going to move over to seat number 2. So we're not going to see Amir's hand this time, which would be really interesting. Once again, we're live at the bike. We're playing pot limit. 10-20 blinds. First raise, the first bring in will be to 70. Anybody that limps in there, you can add $20 per limper. Obviously, a lot of strategical differences between pot limit and no limit.
Just to let you know what
Especially in
I
a
threw
tournament
away.
as well. I mean, pot limit tournaments are my favorite. I love them. I actually cashed in last World Series in a pot limit event, and I really enjoy that structure.
Well, of course, that was a tournament, so I mean, we're
Yeah.
dealing with different cash game issues here.
Raise now 70.
Seat number 2 here is going to raise.
Altogether.
Yeah, Amir raises it up to 70 now. He could have made it more than that, and he's only going to make it 70.
Now, we cannot see his cards, as always. We're not going to see the Buttons cards right now.
Actually, no, he's raising up to 80. I apologize. And that's fine, too.
Yeah.
You're allowed to differ the bet. You don't have to make it 70. You can make it 40 if you want to.
Now, Allen is going to call with an ace-5.
And Mo's call.
Mo's in there with 7-10 of clubs. And C3's in there with pocket jacks. And the flop comes out ace-6-6 here.
Yeah, Allen's got top pair. We obviously do not. Amir was the pre-flop raiser, and we do not know what he has.
Right. Because we're playing the button blind. It's going to get checked to Amir, Dave. And again, the pot is about $320 right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's going to bet about the pot. He's going to bet 300 now. Max has got jacks. You got that premium scare card on the board here.
Pot is 620. I'm going to do my best to really keep up on the pot sizes tonight.
Yeah.
Pot is now 620, and Allen calls.
So now we've got about a $920 pot. Again, we cannot see Amir's cards because we're going to play the button blind. The turn here is a jack. So right now, we know that Allen has top pair, but again, he's against Amir because we're playing the button blind.
Yeah, Allen's kicker does not play. It's aces and sixes.
And David goes check, check, and the river's a 5. And
Changes
again,
nothing.
Allen still only has, and he's going to bet 300 here. Allen bets 300, and Amir is going to call. Allen shows ace-5, and let's see what Amir has. Amir is going to turn over ace-7, Dave.
And they're gonna chop it up.
Hearts, 7 of hearts, and it's going to get chopped up.
Yeah, both
And there
players
it
have
is.
aces and sixes with a jack kicker.
Yep. Again, if you hear us kind of, really, really describing the play, we're actually helping our people out on the floor as well, because the one thing that, we're trying to get is if the button's in the hand, we never see it and it turns over, we need to get called what the cards are.
Exactly. And obviously you'll see a check mark there like Allen was heads up with Amir, but since Amir's hand was not in there, you'll see the check marks next to Allen's
Right.
hand. Just a little bit of experimental. We like to play with it, make it fun for us and you guys at home.
Allen here has ace-queen of clubs, and he's going to raise it up. He's going to raise the pot, Dave, to 70. That is, again, the opening raise that you can raise.
Exactly.
Amir's going to call with a queen-8 of diamonds over there in seat 2. The button is out. Paul's going to call with 7-5 suited. And Dimitri's got 10-8 off suit, and he's going to make the call. So it's going to be, let's say, call it $300 four ways.
Yeah.
Here we go to the flop. Ace, 10, 4. And Allen's hit top pair.
Allen keeps hitting those aces.
And he's going to bet.
And he bets the pot, I believe.
Yep, he's going to bet the pot. But let's call it 300. As you can see, the dealer is actually stacking the chips in the center of the table, something that we don't do in no limit, but is important in pot limit to do.
Right. You got to know how much the pot is.
Yep.
Sometimes you can even say, you actually can say, I bet the pot.
Yep.
And the dealer has to look to see exactly what's in the pot.
Mir's going to get away from it. Paul's going to get away from it. Now, Dimitri's got middle pair. He's got the 8 of hearts in his hand. And he's going to make the call.
And you can see that he's in pretty bad shape here. He's in either 10 and 8 or running hearts.
So precisely a $280 bet and a call. We've got about a $900 pot now. The turn's a 7.
Yeah, that changes nothing. Dimitri now needs a 10 or an 8, and that's it. And like you said, the pot's about 1,000?
It's about 840 to be
Okay.
precise. And Allen's going to bet a little under the pot. He's going to bet 500. Once the pot gets this big, Dave,
Yeah.
you can manipulate it a little bit.
Exactly, and that's a nice bet. That really is.
He bets 500.
I think he knows he has the best hand here. Trying to squeeze out every little drop from Dimitri.
Yep.
Maybe get a weaker ace to call him all the way down.
So the pot now is about 1250, Dave, 500 to call.
Now, obviously, if he were to call this and raise, what he could do is he'd actually be calling the 500, making the pot 1750, and then he can raise it 1750. So the most money that he can put in here is 2250.
Right.
I don't know what you consider high.
Dimitri asking, do you have a high kicker?
And in this game, there really is a lot of strategy in terms of pot control, keeping the pot exactly the way you want to, manipulating it the way you want.
And how do you know that I have the ace?
Slow players that have no experience in pot limit will often find that if they slow play their big hand to the river, they find that on the river they can't get any money in there anyway because the pot's too small.
You have to really build a pot and pot limit to win a big pot.
Exactly.
You can only bet the pot.
And at the same time, if you're uncomfortable playing a hand with playing a big pot with this particular hand, you can try to keep the pot as small as you want to.
Right. And Dimitri's still thinking about this one.
Hey, he really is. He can only beat really if you look at the flop, you can really only beat a heart draw.
Right.
That's it. Say Alan had some sort of King 9 of hearts or something like that. That's all you can beat.
And he is really struggling with this one, David. He's going to make the call.
Yeah, the pot is now 1750.
Yep, 1750 to the river. Here we go. And the river's a 7, and I think Alan should value bet here.
Oh, huge value bet. I think you've got to put him on a weak ace here.
And he's going to bet again.
Now it's down to the game.
He's going to bet 900 into a $1,700 pot.
That's a great bet by Alan.
Love the bet.
Yeah, I mean, rarely do you see Alan make moves like this, but this is a great play by him.
Well, of course, your hand beats a weaker ace because the board paired.
Well, the way that Dimitri has really been tortured with it, if Dimitri had a heart draw, I think he quickly calls the $500 bet.
Right.
So you got to almost put him on a weak ace. And at this point, you know he doesn't have ace king. You know he doesn't have ace. You know what I mean?
Right.
The 7 is actually a really safe card.
So the pot is about
The pot is 2650.
2650, 900 for Dimitri to call.
And if you've never played pot limit, if you're the kind of guy that likes post-flop play, and Dimitri calls.
And Dimitri makes the call, and Alan is going to take down about a $3,500 pot there with ace queen.
Exactly. $3,500 pot. Not bad with ace queen. One pair rarely wins that big a pot, but hey, why not?
So we've talked about a couple of the differences. Let's talk about, some other things. You have to build a pot and pot limit.
All right. Well, you've got to be aware, obviously, if you're in first position and you have pocket aces, you really got to be cautious with that play because let's say the customary raise is 120.
Yeah.
Well, in this game, you can only make it $70.
Right.
And if you make it $70 with pocket aces in early position, you might get called in 6 spots.
Well, the button's over here in Paul's hand, so we're not going to see Paul's hand. We can see that Mo's got ace, jack of hearts, and he's going to raise the pot after one limper, so he's going to make it 90 now.
Exactly.
He's going to make it 90. Dimitri's going to call with a queen, jack offsuit.
Yeah, he's in bad shape here.
And Alan's got pocket sixes. I think he's going to make the call as well here, Dave.
Well, I would call that, of course.
Yeah.
That's the thing. In this game, you really can call with some more speculative hands because there's not an outrageous pot early on.
And the flop comes 10-5-3 with a couple of diamonds. Alan's still in the lead in a $270 pot. Checked around. The turn's a king. Is Mo going to represent now? He's got a gut shot. It's a scary card.
Dimitri's open-ended.
And Mo takes a card again. And the river's a 6, and Alan makes a set on the river. And Alan's going to bet the pot.
And he's going to put in about $300, which
Yep.
is right. And nobody's going to call this. Look at Dimitri's draw there.
Wow. Dave, we had a first email of the night here
Yeah?
from Dave Godler. He wanted to ask you what happened last night after the show.
Let's read the email.
Dave, you had to address the fight last night and what happened. I was just cashing in my chips from the TV table, and I heard the ruckus, turned around, saw a bare-chested guy, you and a few others standing up and chairs knocked over. What the hell happened? You got into a physical altercation last night in the casino, didn't you? We're going to talk about this in between hands.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. On some nights we can really get into these. Tonight I don't really want to get into it too much because there's so much other stuff going on.
Right.
But yes,
We had a limp here in seat number 2 and a raise to the pot to 90 by seat 3. He's got ace 10 of hearts. Paul's going to call him with the same hand, ace 10 of spades.
Yep.
Button's in seat 5. Dimitri's not going to play, so we're going to see all the cards here. Amir is going to call with queen 7 of clubs. So again, here we go, about a $270 to $80 pot.
Oh, wow.
Wow, 2 players flop top 2, and Amir's flopped a second nut flush.
Oh, my. I mean,
Wow.
We can't write this any better.
Amir checks. Max is going to bet the pot. And Paul's got top 2 without the club, but Amir's got the second nut flush.
Now, this is interesting. Now, Paul, this is the aspect of pot limit. Does Paul want to just call and try to keep this pot a little bit small? The problem is, there's already 300 in the pot. If he calls, you got to think about it. Amir can actually call the 300 and raise it up 1,200.
I think Paul's going to raise the pot. He makes it 900 to go. $300 bet and a 900 total, a raise of the pot to 600 here. And now the pot is 1,500 back to Amir, and I don't think he has much more than that, Dave.
Well, he's actually got, that's about 15 in whites. I'd say he has 2,500.
So it's $1,500 pot, and it's going to be 900 for Amir to call. So how does he finagle this?
Yeah, well, right now, if you think about it, he was allowed to put in 900, which would then make the pot 2,400, and then he can raise it 24 more.
He can move all in here
Exactly.
with his stack size. And I don't know if either player is going to get away from it.
Man, I don't. Well, I'll put it this way. If Amir moves in,
and he's going to move all in here, and let's call it 2,500, Dave.
If Max calls, Paul's throwing it away.
Yep. So let's call it 2,500 that he moves all in. So now the pot is about $4,000, an additional probably, I want to say $1,500 for Max to call here.
Pretty good guess.
$4,000 pot, $1,500 for Max to call.
Actually, no, it's more than that for Max. I'm sorry. For Max, it's probably
actually 2,100. 2,100 for Max to call.
And it's 15 for
$4,000 pot, 2,100 for Max to call. Wow, this is unbelievable stuff right
phenomenal.
off the bat.
Absolutely phenomenal. And this is, I mean, look at this. Ace 10, Ace 10. And these guys are in terrible, terrible shape.
Yep.
Because there's only one ace left and one 10 left.
21-10 on this one.
Man, you can't. What a miracle. Great flop for Amir.
And now, does Paul think that Amir might be doing this with an ace and a high club?
You know, Amir does get out of line sometimes. Amir might get the action. I mean, would Amir make this move with ace queen with the queen of clubs?
Ace king with the king of clubs.
That's what I call good. It's a lottery. If you have it.
You can see that camera right there. Dealing with a new cameraman tonight. Back up, Evelyn.
Wow, a nice laydown by Max.
Max is going to lay that hand down, and now it's over to Paul. And for Paul, Dave, again, it's about I want to say another 1,400 or so to call for a $4,000 pot.
That's a pretty good call there on that. Paul's got to be thinking, though. I mean, there's pretty much Amir's got one of two hands. You know, he's either got a set. I'm sorry, one of three hands. He's got a set. He's either got a flush already, or he's got an ace with a high club.
Yep. And Paul only has about 1,500 left, so this is in essence going to put him all in. And he's going to get rid of it. Wow, what a couple of great laydowns there.
Fabulous laydowns.
And Amir is going to take down the pot. Wow, what a hand.
And Amir made the maximum on that one in the sense that, I mean, the way it worked out, he made the maximum for him. I wonder if he had just smooth called, what would have happened? If he just smooth calls, does Max then move in over the top of him? Both.
Right.
You wonder. I'm not a big fan of slow playing. Who knows? Obviously, hindsight's 20/20. Real easy for us in the booth to know what to do.
Button's going to move over to Barry Wood, so we're not going to see his cards in seat 6.
Yep. And we're trying to do this little experimentation where you don't see the guy on the button, his cards.
Right.
You at home, it'll be a nice learning tool. What does Barry Woods have?
Right. A limp here by Mo, a limp by Allen. So it's 3 limpers here.
Dimitri's going to limp in.
Barry limps. Hollywood Russ is going to complete out of the small blinds.
And we just see 6-way action, $120 pot.
Yep.
Nice work by Ronnie getting those cards up so quick.
7-way action. And here we go. 7-6 deuce on the flop with a couple of clubs. Now, Max has an overpair with 8s here. And Russ is going to come out and bet. He's got King 7. You know what? Yep, there it is. King 7 He's going to bet 140 with top pair, 7-6 deuce with a couple clubs. So he's bet the pot.
And I like the bet by Russ. Oftentimes he'll slow play and he'll try to, like, get a check raise in there. But in a limped around pot, you can't expect somebody to bet
Now look
that.
at this. Now Max is going to make a mini raise. He's not raising the pot. He's going to make it 300, Dave. He could have raised more. He's manipulating the pot. He's going to make that little mini informational raise.
I like the raise here. I really do. I mean, do you put your opponent on a 7? Do you put him on 2 pair? Or maybe do you put him on just a club draw? But he's in position. And if somebody else has a weak 6 or something like that, you probably drive them out with this $300 raise.
And again, we do not know what Barry has over there on the button. Dimitri gets away from it. Barry gets away from it. So it's back to Russ with King 7. It was just a mini raise here.
And you know what? The problem with this hand is you have no idea where you're at. I mean, does your opponent already have 2 pair?
Right.
Does your opponent have a set? You have no clue. It's a limped around pot.
And he makes the call, and this pot is about $750 to the turn. The turn's a queen. You wonder, now Russ checks, and it looks like Max is going to bet here again. He can bet up to 800, and he's going to bet 600, Dave.
It's a nice bet. I like the bet. Some people would say, why not take a free card there? It's a scary board. No, I think you need to bet this and maybe take the free showdown. If Russ calls you here, then maybe take a showdown. But
remember this hand.
I think you need to bet that.
And Dimitri's saying, hey, Ronnie, remember the hand. And Ronnie, our card guy, because Dimitri hit 2 pair there on the turn. He was taking a long time to fold Queen 6. And good for Max that he mini raised there, because I think that Dimitri probably would have just overcalled if he hadn't raised with pocket 8s.
Probably for 140.
And Dimitri would have hit 2 pair there on the turn.
Well, that's the one thing. This game is, it's hard to, if the pot has been limped around, it's really hard to drive out that draws, those draws on the flop. Somebody has a pair or somebody has a straight draw, a flush draw. It's really difficult to get those guys out.
Was my Queen 6 good? Was my Queen 6 good?
And Russ gets away from the hand, and Dimitri says, was my Queen 6 good? And it was, Dave. It was. So a nice little mini raise there by Max gets him the pot.
I think he had to protect his hand there. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a good play. It's funny, we were kind of toying around with ideas of seeing, maybe we're not seeing anybody's cards. But we thought that would be too difficult to try to surmise what everybody had.
Right. No, I think that this is good. This is good. And again, we're playing pot limit, $10, $20, $1,000 minimum, unrestricted max. And I guess the max doesn't really mean as much as it does in a no-limit game, Dave, because you are restricted by the terms of what the pot size is. So if someone were to come in with $50,000 and someone had $5,000, it doesn't really mean all that much, right, with the $50,000.
Although with pot limit, you saw how quickly it can get up there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think about it, the hand against with Mir and Paul, if these guys had bought in for $15,000, $20,000, Paul could have then re-raised them to $9,000 probably.
Right.
I mean, the pots can get real big real quick in pot limit.
Yeah, can you straddle in pot limit as well? I assume you can.
Yeah,
right?
I would assume so.
So Paul's really confident about his pot limit play, huh?
Yeah, I just think it adds another element to the game, and he thinks the more elements you add to this game, the better off he'll be.
Barry's going to raise the pot here. It got limped around, maybe 3 limpers, and he's going to make it 130.
And that's the maximum he can make it.
Yep, Russell's on the button. He folds.
He's plus 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus 10. 120, 110.
Don't argue with him.
Yeah, you can actually make it 110
Yep.
because of the limpers.
So it makes it 110.
He had 3 limpers before him. Should make it 70 to 90 to 110.
I don't think it's going to matter because I don't think anybody's going to call him here, Dave.
Well, the interesting thing is, you wonder if Paul might get involved. Paul's thinking about it. He's got a little suited gapper there, Queen 9 of clubs. It's funny, people give Jack 10 of clubs a lot of weight. Queen 9 of clubs is not a terrible hand. You can flop a lot of good things. Obviously, you're not looking for a queen here.
So the action's over to Paul. The other guys have folded in between.
And he's going to call this.
Yeah, he's going to make the call here.
I'm just wondering if Paul has enough money to really make this call. Paul's not very deep, is he?
And Dimitri also makes the call. So we're going to look at about, I want to say, a $500 pot here.
That's a pretty good guess, yeah.
$500 pot here to the flop. Barry's the pre-flop raiser. And here we go. Well, King 3-6. Now, no one's really hit anything here.
No, Dimitri's got a gut shot.
Is Barry going to make that good post-flop aggression play here?
He usually does, and I think he can make it about $440.
420.
$420.
So the pot's 420. Okay.
And like the pot limit's new to a lot of these players as well. And they're all kind of figuring it out.
You know, it's also new to the dealer. I tried to tell Mo that the dealer is not supposed to break up the chips in the pot. And it gets checked. Barry does not bet. Now, the turn's a 5, and Dimitri's turn the best hand here. He's got a pair and a straight draw.
I'm shocked that Barry did not bet that.
I am too. And Dimitri says it gets checked to him, and he's going to bet the pot here. So he's going to bet 420. Now the pot's 840. I'm really shocked that Barry didn't bet there.
Yeah, and now Barry's in a spot where, you can't really call this.
Wow, he's going to raise, Dave.
Well, I guess he's representing like a set of kings or a set of sixes. I mean, he's trying to represent a big, big hand here.
So he can make it up to 1260 more.
Well, he calls to 420, and then exactly, he can make it 1260 more, so for a total of, 1680.
But he's only going to make it 600 more. He's going to mini raise here. So, wow. So the pot is now about 1,900, 600 for Dimitri to call.
Yeah.
I know I did. For some reason, I feel it.
I mean, you figure here Barry's either got an absolute monster or nothing at all, right?
Yep.
It's worth losing $1,000.
You wonder, though, if he's raising the wrong guy. We just saw Dimitri pay off Allen with just a pair of tens.
And Dimitri calls.
Oh, wow.
And look at this. Barry rivers an ace.
Yeah, well.
Unbelievable. And the pot's $2,500.
Now, it is a third spade. And that's the only thing I'm wondering, is Dimitri going to try to represent this?
Again,
and even more importantly, is Barry going to value bet this?
Again, the pot is 2,500 here. Dimitri can bet up to 2,500, and he looks like he's going for chips. He only has a pair of 5s.
Well, he's got to realize that he probably thinks that he raised me. He's got to have me beat somewhere. Let me see if I can represent something. But you wonder if Dimitri's trying to bluff the wrong guy, too.
$2,500 pot here. And Dimitri's asking the dealer to count the pot.
And we know already the pot is 2,500?
About 2,500.
Yep.
Again, the dealer is supposed to be doing this to ring the hand. If we tell the dealer that it's supposed to be like a split pot game, because this kind of slows the action up a little bit.
We can have Donna explain it to Mo, and then Mo will tell the dealers as they come in, because Mo has a lot of experience in pot limit. And they're just keep the game going, obviously.
Yeah. So Dimitri's trying to get some time here.
And Dimitri's been around around poker for a long, long time. He has played pot limit. He's just a gambler. He knows how to play, though, but he is a gambler.
So the pot is about, I would say about 2,500 here. And Dimitri is going to bet. He's going to bet the pot here, Dave.
So the pot was exactly 2,460, just so you know.
So now the pot is about 4,900, and we'll call it 2,500 for Barry to call. He's getting 2-1 here. Dimitri has bet the pot. That's all you can bet here. We're looking almost at a $5,000 pot and about 2,500 for Barry.
The problem is,
okay,
now start thinking of a hand that Dimitri might have here. Now the ace wouldn't have given him a straight, because if he had 4 deuce, he already had the straight.
And Barry calls like that, Dave. He doesn't even think twice.
Well, he might have thought twice, right?
And ace-jack is going to take down, wow, about a $7,500 pot. We always point out you got to know your players, and no limit in pot limit in this case. Don't try to bluff Barry Woods. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and Barry could only beat really a bluff. I mean, would Dimitri even bet? I mean, I guess Dimitri would bet 2 pair there.
Right.
And Dimitri easily could have had 2 pair. I mean, easily could have had ace-5.
Wow. Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Keep this show interactive. Also follow a live thread on 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on forums, tournament poker, World Poker Tour, etc. You also can join us on our MySpace page, Live at the Bike.
Yeah.
MySpace.com/liveatthebike. What a call by Barry Woods. Seems like I say that 2 or 3 times every show that Barry Woods is on.
I mean, and you got to give it both ways. It's usually, wow, what a call. Oh, my God, I can't believe he called that. But you know what, though? The way Barry calls people down, obviously he pays off people too much. But at the same time, if you looked at his net gain, is it positive EV that calls so much? I think it is. He's definitely ahead in the long run.
Of those big calls that he's made.
Definitely. Not even close.
Limp here.
And people still try to bluff him.
Dimitri's going to raise the pot here.
Matt is on the button.
So Dimitri can make it, I think,
90.
110 here. There's 2 limpers.
Oh, it is 2 limpers.
Yeah.
No, well, it bought the button. You're right, 2 limpers. Okay, 110. Exactly.
We need to see what Dimitri has in seat 5.
And Matt calls. Now we just have to guess here. Now Matt is on the button, so we don't know what Matt has.
Dimitri raised with Jack 7 of hearts in seat 5.
Now I think Matt would call Dimitri's raises on the button with almost, any kind of 2 connecting cards.
Yeah.
I call the pot. What's the pot?
We probably assume Matt does not have a big pair, say
Right.
Jackson higher.
So Matt has made the call. It's back over to Amir here with 7-10 of diamonds. He's also going to call here, Dave. And and look at this. Seat 3 is going to call. So we're playing Matt's hand blind. So we've got a pot of about almost $500.
I don't know what Matt has, but he's got to be in good shape because he's got all the same cards.
So we're looking at a $500 pot. Dimitri's the pre-flop raiser. Here we go. Queen 6-5. Well, everybody that we can see doesn't have much.
Yeah, now let's see how it's played.
Again, we are playing the button blind tonight. So Matt in seat 8 is in the hand, and we do not know what he has.
Obviously, when the button is in there, the percentages don't mean as much.
The action is on Amir, it looks like.
They all checked.
Everybody checked. The
And
turn's a 4.
Turns a 4, and Dimitri has now turned a straight draw, and so does Amir. They both have the same open-ended straight draw.
And Dimitri's going to bet 400. Amir is going to bet 400 here with
And
the
Dimitri
open-ended
calls.
straight draw. And Dimitri quickly calls, and Matt is out of the hand.
And you just wonder, what did Matt have on that flop? What did he start out with?
Right.
Where it got checked to him, and he didn't take a shot at it.
So here we go. $1,300 pot, it looks like, as we're going to see a river here. Well, wait a minute. Dimitri is going to raise, we're getting word here. He's going to...
Well, he's in great shape. He's actually going to raise the pot.
Yeah, he's going to raise the pot here.
And pretty much all in. And you know what? He's in great shape because they both have the same straight draw, and Dimitri's jack high plays.
He has moved in here.
Amir can only win this pot with a 10.
So he's going all in for $1,500, so it's going to be another $1,100 for Amir to call here.
I think it's an easy laydown.
And the
isn't
pot
it?
is about $3,000, $1,100 to call, and Amir's only got an open-ended straight draw.
Okay, so you're looking at it, you're getting a little less than 3-1, and you got to figure you only have 8 outs. And with no implied odds. It's just a math question, really?
Yeah, he's getting almost 3-1, but again, it's just open-ended.
Yeah. And you never know. Your opponent could have 2 pair at this point. Your opponent could have a straight right now. You don't even know.
What kind of hand would Dimitri check the flop with and now raise the turn from an early position better?
You never know. He's kind of an unconventional player. I mean,
Dimitri gets away from it. Amir gets away from it, and Dimitri's going to take it down there.
I mean, a hand like that, but you never really know with Dimitri.
Yeah.
Now, I'm only curious what Matt had there. And because he did not take a shot at it from the button.
Rabbit Cam shows the
5 of hearts.
5 of hearts there.
And Dimitri would have won it with jack high. That would have just been, that would have been poison there.
Yep.
One thing I'd love to see the players do tonight, maybe we can make the suggestion to Donna, she can tell the players, if the players are in the hand, what I'd like them to do before they fold is actually put their cards on the window. They don't have to show everybody, but they can put the cards on the window. That way we know what Matt folded.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a big help, Dave.
Well, it's nice because otherwise we're just left,
Right.
we're left wondering what Matt has,
Right.
but we never get a resolution to it.
Button's going to move over here to Allen.
I think it's a live straddle
Yeah,
now. So
live
now the pot is
straddle.
already 70,
Yeah.
40 to call, and now when you call the 40, the pot is 110. You can then make it 150 actually total.
And I think Amir has raised the pot here from seat 5. He's got ace 10 of hearts.
And he's made it 150.
Now Matt's got 10-9 of spades, and he's going to call.
And those are probably the hands that he's calling. He's looking to play pots to Dimitri because he knows he might get, if he hits it big, he might double up.
And Allen's going to call. And seat number 2 with ace jack offsuit, Amir is going to call. So here we go. I would say it's about $650 to the flop here 4 ways, Dave.
Now, in Allen, we have no idea what he has.
Right. We do not know what Allen's has. We're going to play his hand blind. Again, if he folds, we want to see his hand in the camera. Here we go to the flop. Wow.
Oh.
Ace jack 10.
My.
Amir and Dimitri have 2 pair, and Matt has flopped bottom pair with the flush draw.
Oh, this could be
Wow.
huge. And the pot is already $660.
Yep. Unbelievable.
Oh, this is crazy. And you can only, Matt, we have no idea what Allen has here. Phenomenal.
Now, the action, I believe,
It's on Amir.
is on Amir. And has he done anything yet?
He checked. Okay,
He's
now the action
checked.
Dimitri.
And it got checked around, Dave, and the turn's a jack. Are you kidding me? And both players have made full houses. Everybody checked. Now Amir's going to bet 300 here. Wow.
Yeah, Amir's actually
Actually,
full house
excuse
Dimitri.
me, you're right.
It actually kills Dimitri's hand.
Amir made a full house.
There's no point in slow playing and pot limit. I mean, I just don't
Right.
understand what you're doing here.
Amir bets 300. Dimitri is going to call. And Matt calls.
And Matt is drawing dead here. Matt cannot win this pan.
And
Actually,
Alan
Dimitri can't win the hand either. He can only chop it.
Alan says raise, Dave, and we're playing his hand in the dark.
Wow. Okay, now let's think. What does Alan have here? Could he have king queen? Could Alan have king queen here? He's raising 3 players.
Wow. 3, 6, 9. How much is Alan going to raise?
He makes it 1,500.
Wow.
I mean, do you think Alan's got a jack?
The pot is now $3,000, and it's at $1,200 for Amir to call, and he makes the call.
I mean, could Alan actually have king queen? Could if he had checked king queen on the flop?
And Amir makes the call. It's now a $4,200 pot. Again, we don't know what Alan has. It's a $4,200 pot. Another $1,200 for Dimitri to call, and he can't beat much here. He's two pairs got counterfeited.
It's an easy laydown here for Dimitri. I mean, he's upset because he thinks he had the best hand, and he thinks he let them get there. He's actually lucky that he got the free. Everybody gave him a free card because he probably would have committed all his chips on the flop. My guess here is Alan's probably got king queen, jack 10. That would mean it's the case jack and the case 10. So I'm going to say he probably has king queen. And if he has king queen of spades, he's still drawing dead because Matt's got the 10 of spades in his hand.
Wow, $4,200 pot here already. Remember, Alan raised. We do not know what he has. But Amir has top full house right now. The only thing that Alan could beat him with is, well, he can't beat anything right now.
He can only beat pocket aces, but he can't have pocket aces because there's only 1 ace left.
Right. He can't have 4 jacks.
Actually, Amir cannot lose the hand unless somehow Alan has ace-king, and I would bet my left nut that he doesn't have ace-king. I'm going to tell you straight now. Alan's got king-queen. There's no doubt in my mind.
Alan has king-queen. We're going to play
There's
it
no
blind.
doubt in my mind.
Remember, Dimitri hasn't laid the hand down yet. It's a $4,200 pot.
And once again, I want to remind Donna, make sure we get to see Alan's hand, even if he mucks.
Yep.
Dimitri is drawing dead to a chop. Matt is drawing dead completely. And Alan, I'm going to tell you right now, he's probably drawing dead as well.
Again, we are playing Alan's hand blind on the button. He just checked the flop, and now he's raised the turn. So you think he probably slow-played the flop, Dave, with king-queen.
He's raised 3 players. There's no way one guy's going to bet 300, 300, 300, and he's going to make the raise now. I just don't believe that, unless you put him on Jack 10, but that would mean it's the case Jack and the case 10 out there.
Dimitri still hasn't folded his hand. It's going to a $4,200 pot, and it's about... And Dimitri's going to move all in with ace-10, Dave.
Yeah, and he's drawing dead to a chop.
Are you kidding me? Matt quickly folds, and I guess how much more is it to Alan? Dimitri has put in 2,000. The pot is about 6,100 now, and it's probably not much more to Alan. It's probably only 400 more. But Alan and Amir have money on the side.
Yeah, but,
Again, we're playing Alan's hand blind.
Nah, it's not blind anymore. He's got king-queen. I know it. Telling you.
How much more is it to Alan?
He has to have king-queen here. I mean, does Alan really have the balls to raise 3 players? 1 player, yes, but 3?
740 to
So it's actually 700 more to call. So the pot is actually more like 6,500. 700 for Alan to call. And again, we've got money between Dimitri and Alan on the side.
Actually, no, Amir and Alan.
Amir and Alan.
Right.
That is full.
Matt is out of the hand. Matt obviously realizes that his straight draw, his pair and his flush draw are no good.
So Alan makes the call. And again, we've got money between Amir and Alan on the side here.
And what a night for Amir. He flops a flush, then he flops top 2. He turns a full house.
Let's call the pot $7,000 right now.
The pot is, you're right, it's about 7,200, 7,250 right now.
Yep. And now I do not think that Amir can have the option to re-raise here. Amir's asking him, can I re-raise Alan here? Again, we're playing Alan.
And he cannot re-raise. He cannot re-raise because it was not a full raise back to him.
So Amir calls. And now the pot's approaching $8,000, and we're going to assume that Amir's going to move all in on the river because he doesn't have much left.
Yeah. Oh, it's a no-brainer. He's got another, I want to say, $1,100 or $1,200. The pot is already $8,200.
$8,200. Dimitri's all in.
Actually, Amir's got almost $1,500 left.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to the river here. They're doing a lot of stuff with chips in the center. Here we go to the river. River's a 3, inconsequential. Amir immediately moves all in here, Dave.
And Amir has the absolute nuts because we see there's another ace out there. There's no way.
$1,300 all in here. The pot's $9,500, $1,300 for Alan to call. Again, we're playing his hand blind.
My guess is he's got king, queen. You guys at home, you think what he's got here. Let us know what you think he might have here.
$9,500 pot, $1,300 to call. I mean, Alan's getting about 6-1. He makes the call. Amir's got ace-jack. We need to see what Alan has.
Show us an Alan card there.
Jack of diamonds, 7
Oh,
of
my
hearts.
God.
Wow, did he overplay 3 jacks with a kicker that doesn't even play there on the turn, Dave?
Yeah.
You got an ace and a 10 out there. The kicker doesn't play, and Amir's going to take down over a $10,000 pot.
I mean,
Wow.
obviously a jack was the other possibility for Alan's hand, but Alan's got to realize that when he raises it up to $1,500 and gets Amir to re-raise, and he gets Dimitri moving all in, you got to realize, you know what, my 3 jacks are probably not good here.
Wow.
I got to throw this away.
Well, the funny thing, you said that, maybe Alan had king-queen, but the more I think about it, the more I have a conversation with Alan, he doesn't really slow play that anymore. There's a 2 flush out there. He acknowledges the fact that I don't want somebody to catch a flush. I think he would have bet king-queen on the flop there.
I guess so.
That is unbelievable.
It just became so much. It became so much of the. I saw so many jacks out there and so many tens out there. I just couldn't put him on a hand that he would actually put all his money in there.
Right.
I know Dimitri's a little bit of a gambler. I know Alan likes to call people, but there does come a point where you look at Jack 7 and you realize this can't possibly be good, can it? Wow, Button moves over to seat number 1. That's Mo. What a hand. And Amir is on absolute fire after taking about a $2,500, actually $3,000 pot with his flush.
So this one's going to be limped around
Amir
5 ways.
takes down at what? 12, after about $11,000 pot.
$11,000 pot. Wow.
Wow.
Limped around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, so it's a $100 pot here. King,
Yes.
King 8.
Matt's flopped a full house.
And Matt's got a full house. He flopped it. Paul is going to bet here 100 with pocket 3s, and Matt is just going to smooth call here with King 8.
And Paul's got pocket 3s. I mean, if we talk about reverse implied odds.
Yeah, if a 3 were to come off.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're heads up here. Pocket 3s against King 8. And the pot is about $320. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a 6. I think Paul's done with this one, Dave.
You know, it's funny. They said there's a question mark. There was a check mark next to Matt's hand. Couldn't Paul have made running 3s?
No, there wasn't after the flop. Matt was 99%.
Oh, it was. Okay,
Yeah.
so the check mark went after the 6 came up.
Matt's going to bet 200 here on the turn, and Paul's going to fold.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
You like that play? Actually, I love that post by Johnny.
Yeah.
Ace on the River by Barry. Don't call me Greenstein Woods.
Right.
Pun intended.
Another email here from Michael. He says, commotion, Dave. Come on, tell us what happened last night. Looks like there's a guy, Fernd Harumph, who doesn't like the fact that we're not showing the buttons cards, Dave. Throughout the show. We
You
haven't
know what?
even gotten to that point yet in the
You
show. 'cause we're on
can't
a
make
delay.
everybody happy.
Yeah.
We can't make everybody happy. It's something we're going to play with. And on Live at the Bike, you know, we try to keep this show real, try to keep it politically
Yeah.
incorrect, and we're going to continue experimenting.
Limped around here 4 ways, 5 ways. $100 pot to the flop. 7, 6, 4 with a couple of spades. Jack 9 of spades over there for seat 1, Mo. And seat 2 is the button, so we're going to go blind on Amir. Mo checked the flush draw. And everybody checked here. The turn's a deuce. Now Paul's picked up a flush draw with Jack 8.
Now, he's actually got a gut shot as well. It's not a terrible hand for Paul there. Any 5, he's got the win, and any diamond, he has it.
Well, now Max is going to come out. He's going to bet 90 with Jack 7 with top pair. He checked on the flop. Paul's going to call. And now Mo loves to make this move. A bet by Max, a call by Paul. Sometimes Mo will raise there, but he's just going to call. And the pot's about $500 here as we go to the river.
I tell you, Max has got to dodge a lot of cards. A 5, a 9.
Yeah. River's a 4,
Well,
and he
he's-
dodged him.
He dodged them all, huh?
And I believe that Max has checked here.
Has he checked? Or is he still thinking about it? Yeah, now he checked. Okay.
Checked around, and Mo's going to try to bluff at it.
Yep.
He's gonna bet the pot. He's gonna bet 600 here, Dave, as a bluff. He has missed his draw. He bet 600. What could he be representing? It's a one-liner to a straight here with a 3.
It's funny. He tried to bet 600. He couldn't though. He could only bet 4.
Oh, he can only bet 4. And look at this. Max is gonna call him.
Yeah. Wow. Max calls a $360
And Mo
bet.
folds. And Max is gonna take down that pot. Wow.
Well, I guess if you're going to check to induce a bluff, it's a nice play.
Yep.
Max makes himself an extra $360.
So what's the deal with the fight, Dave?
Like I said, I mean, it's a long, drawn-out story that's really not nearly as exciting as it should be. And since we've got an exciting night of poker right now, I don't want to waste our viewers' time or ours.
All right,
but
I
I
won't ask
promise.
anymore.
No, I promise I will get into it in complete detail at some point.
Maybe on Monday during Barry Woods' home game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
When Barry's boring us on Monday, we'll do that. Perfect time then.
Physical altercation. Mo is limped here. 10-7 of diamonds. And Paul's going to raise the pot. He's got ace-king. In seat 4. He's going to make it 80 here, Dave. Barry folds the ace-9, and Mo is going to call Paul in position. So it's going to be about a $180 pot with the blinds as we go to the flop. Queen 8-4 rainbow.
Yep.
Well, Paul has missed. Looks like it's gone check on the flop. The turn is another 8.
Yeah, nobody's got anything here. Paul's got in good control. He's got figures his ace-king is probably good, and he takes it down.
Yep.
Got a nice little post here on 2+2 from Boondoggle. Says, Tuck's idea of telling the players to do this and that is BS. They are focusing on poker and not making sure that we can see their cards. Cheers, Boone. I understand what you're saying, and he's got a good point. But in the end, it was actually the players' idea to do this tonight. They're the ones that said, "Hey, we want to make we don't want you to we want to make it tough for you. You have to guess what it is." So we said, "Hey, sounds like a good idea. Let's do it."
I thought I could be clever.
Now, obviously, if they're going to do that, though, it's no fun if we never get to see the end of it.
Right.
I mean, imagine we're sitting there just guessing what Alan has the entire time, and then we never know. Man. It's like a little,
Dimitri's rebought here. He's pure action in seat 5.
talk about a cock tease.
Wow.
And I think, is he rebought for 5,000?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Limp here. Matt is, Gruss is limped in under the gun with ace-queen, Dave. And it's going to get limped around here. We're not going to see Paul's cards in seat 4 right now because he's on the button. And Dimitri looks like he's going to raise the pot. We do need to see his cards in seat 5.
Now, this is one of those times where if Dimitri raises it up here, sometimes he can play a gross overbet and take down the whole pot. But in this case, he can only make it, I want to say, $150, or actually $130. And that might price in a lot of his opponents. I mean, I almost guarantee you that Amir is probably going to call with pocket 4s.
Well, Barry Woods is called again. We cannot see Dimitri's cards in seat 5.
I did not look. Why should I show it to somebody
So
else?
Dimitri is going to see. He says he's raising blind.
I don't doubt that he probably was raising blind.
Yeah.
I'm raising the pot.
He's got Jack 3 off suit here.
You already had your offer, Justin.
Barry Woods called with Queen Jack. Russ is called with Ace Queen. And Paul is going to limp, re-raise the pot on the button here, Dave, I think, in seat 4.
650 plus the 10, 660.
Is that what he did?
Paul
Wow.
in seat 4. Correct?
And he needs to say, what, 500 more?
Yeah, Paul has limp, re-raised Dimitri on the button. He limped on the button, maybe figuring that Dimitri might be scheming, and he's pretty much put himself all in here.
Well, he's re-raised it in the pot, which is $700 here, because
Yeah.
Dimitri made it $150 more and got called in 4 spots.
Wow.
So that gives Paul the option to call the $150 and then raise it another $550.
Yep.
Wow.
And Paul doesn't have much left. I mean, Barry can't make this call with Queen Jack.
And what do you think Paul has here? I'm going to guess. I mean, I'm going to just throw out there. I mean, obviously, we're putting ourselves on a limb here. I'm going to guess maybe he has pocket 9s.
He might have just played it with a premium hand as well, you know, figuring Dimitri was going to raise anyway.
Maybe ace-king. Ace-king, pocket 9s, pocket 10s. I even give him credit maybe as high as pocket jacks. I don't think anything higher
And
than that.
Dimitri's going to make the call with Jack 3 offsuit, and this pot's going to balloon over $2,000 here, folks.
Well, and look at Dimitri. What a gambler he is. Jack 3. He has committed himself, what,
Wow.
$900, $800 already?
It's over a $2,000 pot. It's over to Russ here. He's got ace-queen. He had the original limper under the gun.
Normally an easy fold, but Russ is trying to think, wait a second, Paul limped in on the button. What could he have? But Paul could have known Dimitri was going to do this. Paul's
Right.
a pretty smart player. He knows this. I think it's an easy laydown if you're Paul, don't you? I mean, if you're Russ. It's Paul making this move. I put Paul on a minimum either ace-king or maybe pocket 8s, pocket 9, somewhere in that range.
I know what you mean. You taking someone drinking? I don't know. One of your neighbors.
I mean, it's sort of not unlike a play I made against Corporation Mike when I re-raised all in with pocket 8s, knowing that he might make this move with just an overcard.
And Russ reluctantly lays it down here.
And Amir's got to lay this down now.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Amir's going to lay it down. And Paul only's got about 200 left. We're looking at like a $2,000 pre-flop here. We know that Dimitri has Jack 3. We don't know what Paul has, but we know all the money's going in here on the flop.
Well, Dimitri's hit a pair.
Dimitri checks and Paul moves all in. He has 600. The pot balloons over 3,000. And Paul moves all in and Dimitri calls. The turn's a 5.
And Dimitri's in bad shape here.
And the river is an ace.
Dimitri's only a jack plays for
Yeah,
Dimitri.
Dimitri's got Jack high. And Paul is showing ace 8 of spades. He limp re-raised on the button with
What?
pocket 8s, excuse me. He's
Pocket
got pocket 8s.
eights. Okay,
I thought
there
it
you
was
go.
ace 8. He limp re-raised, and that was kind of right around what you guessed there, Dave.
Yeah, well, I said pocket 9s, pocket 10s, maybe pocket 8s. When Don actually said on our ear ace 8, you saw I almost fell out of my seat. I almost fell out of my seat there. I'm going, ace 8 he made that move
Right.
with?
No, he made it with pocket 8s.
Yeah, and that made sense.
Yep.
And I like the move by Paul. I mean, I think anything higher than 10s or jacks, I don't think he's going to count on him making that move.
Wow, and that pot's going to be over $3,000. Paul doubles up.
Yeah, and you know what?
Maybe even $4,000.
That's what
there.
makes Paul a seasoned pro. You know what I mean? He was going to limp in. He kind of had a feeling that maybe that I think he kind of thought that whole thing might hand out that way.
Yeah.
You know, Dimitri raising 3 or 4 callers, and hey, maybe I can pick up all this dead money. You wonder what Hollywood Russ is thinking there with ace queen. He would have had a full house, aces over 5s. Huh?
Yeah.
But I don't think you can call that. I mean, I think you got to know you're behind. I think obviously you got to put Paul on a minimum of pocket pair. Maybe he's got ace king.
Looks like a lot of people like the fact, now that we're caught up to the delay here, people were speculating on what Alan has. Maybe, one person said here on 2+2, Dave, RX Cowbell, Alan could have had the king, queen of clubs and catch the 9 of clubs, and that was pretty much the only way that he wouldn't have been drawing dead to Amir's ace jack.
Oh, I thought there's 2 spades out there.
Really?
No.
Was it 2 spades?
Yeah, it was 2 spades. 'Cause I remember
spades.
I remember 9, 10 of spades at a spade
Right.
draw. I'll have to see it again.
You're right. And the turn paired the jack.
Right.
Did it give him a club, though? Did the club came on the turn?
I didn't think so. I
think it was a black.
Was it 2
It was
clubs?
a black jack, yeah.
So 2 clubs and 2
So if
spades. out there?
Alan say he had slow played king, queen, he had king, queen of clubs, and then
He could have caught a straight
he could
flush.
have caught a straight flush there.
And obviously that's a long shot. But hey, I saw
Yeah.
a hand a couple of nights ago between David Kelsey, and Barry Woods, where all
Yeah.
the money went in on the middle. All the money went in after the turn. And Barry had a flush, and so did Kelsey. Kelsey had the ace-high flush.
Yeah.
And Barry had a gut shot, had a 1-outer to a straight flush, and caught it.
Right. And what a play there by Paul. Like you said, a seasoned pro in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pocket aces for Matt. And look at this. He's limped in early position. And that's a play. And this is exactly what we're talking about, where if you raise it in
Right.
first position under the gun, you can only raise it up to $70.
And it's almost like a stop raise, but we sometimes say no limit. It's not really a big raise in this game. He's trying to limp re-raise with the aces, which I think half the time is probably right in a pot limit game, right?
In first position, if you make it 70, you're going to get 6 callers anyway, especially this game. Think about it. Dimitri, Amir, Mo, Barry.
But Dimitri has raised the pot on the button, Dave.
And
He's
there-
done it. He's made it 110, and Matt immediately says re-raise.
And he's gotten what he wants. Hey, you know what? He was counting on Dimitri, and Dimitri did not disappoint.
He's going to make it. He's going to re-raise the pot here. Again, we're not going to see Dimitri's hand. It could be any 2 cards, Dave, right?
Dimitri, yeah. Who knows? I mean, good luck, folks.
Matt, everybody's folded back to Dimitri. Doesn't look like Matt has a whole lot left here, but he has pulled the limp re-raise here with aces.
Matt's got it. I mean, he looks like he's $600 or $700 though. Doesn't he in weights?
That way I don't have to think about it.
And Dimitri's going to raise him, and Matt says all in. I got aces. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, and this is all in.
Yeah.
And let's guess. What do you think Dimitri has? I'm going to guess ace.
You're going to guess ace? Really?
Ace 8.
Wow.
I'm going to go on ace 8. Just a random ace. Ace rag.
This is unbelievable.
He might have king 10.
Here we go to the flop. Queen, deuce, deuce. Doesn't look like Dimitri's that happy. Turns a 6. River's a 9.
And guess what Dimitri has there.
Dimitri asks for a new setup. So.
And Matt's counting down his money, and Dimitri's already going to pay him. So, pretty obvious.
You know what? Maybe we don't even need to see Dimitri's cards here on this one. I mean, it
Who
doesn't
knows?
really matter. I mean, if
He
we don't
could
want to
have
rub
Jack-
it in the guy's face.
He could have Jack 3. Who knows? Who the heck knows what he has?
If he just wants to fold, I think this one's okay on this.
And Dimitri goes through another 5,000 like that. Yeah, and it looked like Matt had about $1,200 more. So this pot is about, I want to say, close to $3,100.
Yeah.
Nice double up for Matt there. Put a little bow on it, give it over to Matt. Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah.
Matt is Roswell, by the way, on 2+2.
Yep. And we did not see Dimitri's cards, which I think in this case is perfectly all right.
You know what? He could have anything.
Yep.
Anything. Button moves over to seat 6. That's Barry Woods. And, Dimitri's he's already a big-time gambler. And now you take it to the point where not only is he gambling, but he's obviously steaming a little bit right now.
Right. Wow. Unbelievable. Again, you can email us at livethebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions.
And once again, I promise you, I will get into the fight that was last night. I got into my first poker room brawl last night. I guess you're not a real man until you get into a poker room brawl. I guess I kind of popped my cherry to be a professional poker player. They all talk about it. They say, well, you have to get in one fight. And I promise you I will get into detail about this. But basically it ended with, the lead floor telling me if I wanted to, I could press charges on the guy. I declined to. And it ended in that. The person that I got into the altercation with, I'm not sure, but I'm going to bet that he's probably suspended from the bike for a month or so. Unfortunately for me, I got no disciplinary action. Although I didn't really deserve any. I was just defending myself.
You get a really cool email here, Dave.
Do we? What
a
is it?
suggestion from Richard. Said you get a hidden suggestion. Put their name up on the screen with the backs of 2 cards so everyone knows who is playing in the hand that you guys aren't showing. I'm sure your tech guys can put that up together fast. And I asked Ronnie. I love the suggestion.
But what cards would we put in there, though?
Well, maybe we can put up, say, if somebody's in the hand, an inconsequential card like, say, deuce of clubs and a blank card.
The problem is, it might screw things up because I don't think the computer will let you put a deuce of clubs in there and then a deuce of clubs in the turn, or a river.
Or some other card that's maybe dead out of there. That the
Yeah,
card
it's a
guy
great
knows.
idea. I'm not sure if we can do it. Unfortunately, Isaac's not here today. It's a great idea, though.
Yeah.
Thank you for the email.
Limped around here 4 ways.
If you think it'll work, let's go for it.
Barry is on the button, so we're not going to see these cards.
And as Alan's got king queen. He's got top pair.
Yeah, he actually has king queen there.
Yeah.
And Alan's going to bet the pot. He's
$80. That's the pot. That's all you can bet. Can't bet anymore. Can't bet, or you can bet less.
And everyone's going to get away from it.
You can't bet less than 20 though.
Yeah.
You have to bet at least what the big blind will be.
Yep. But I think that is a really cool idea there for.
It's a great idea. That way we know who's in the hand. At least.
Exactly. What we could do again, like if you pick like a token deuce of clubs and maybe even for future reference, right? That might screw up the hand, but Ronnie might be able to see a card that was already dead from somebody who's folded. Say the 3 of diamonds. Put up the 3 of diamonds, and then I know we can put up a blank card.
Yeah,
See what I
it might work out. Maybe next time we do it, we can also put in somehow we'll get a 53rd and a 54th card in there, and those two blank cards.
Put like
Jokers.
a joker card up there. And
Exactly.
A blank.
I just don't want to. Obviously, it's the first time we've ever done it. I don't want to confuse us to the point where I'm
Right.
looking up going, wow, and Alan's got a deuce. Look at that, a trip deuces.
And actually, Ray, who normally does the cameras, is actually directing for the night. So very complex to go in here tonight and do this. It's actually, the player's idea, and I was kind of like, well, I knew that Ray was directing tonight, but I didn't really think it would affect it all that
Well,
much.
we've got a lot of new things going on. Ray is directing. We've got Evelyn out on the floor.
Right.
Our producer is doing the camera work, and we've got the pot limit, and we've got pot limit instead of no limit.
Right.
The food and beverage director here, and I'll take care of him. She's sitting there talking to the couple, and I said, well, she said to me, I'm getting you a drink. I said, well, I'm already getting a drink for God's fucking sake.
And I tell you, it's tough. And this is one of the reasons it's funny. It's not surprising that, after 2 or 3 years in a poker room, you might get into a poker brawl. The emotions can run high. We see Dimitri getting mad there. You've seen George get mad. You've seen Mike get mad. And it just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Obviously, you lose $10,000. It's hard to stay unemotional.
Four-way action here, limped around, so it's an $80 pot.
9, 8, 7, 2 spades. And we cannot see Russ's hand, but Russ is not in the hand, so.
Russ is on the button. Actually, Russ is in the hand, Dave. So we're
okay.
going to do his cards blind.
And he's betting on the button.
Yeah,
If you only
bet.
guess what he has here.
He's going to bet the pot.
You think maybe he's got like a spade draw?
Well, it doesn't look like anybody's going to be able to call him, but look at this.
Well-
Mo is going to call with Queen 6. He's going to try to represent something.
Well, it's funny. Matt actually laid down Queen 10 there. He was
Yeah.
open-ended with the high side of it. If a jack had come off, he would beat anybody with a 10.
Turns is 7. Again, we've got Mo and Russ in the hand here.
Now, if Russ is going to fire again, I'm going to put him on at least a pair. And sure enough, he's betting again.
He bets 100, and he's going to take it
Yeah.
down.
And what does he have? We have to see his cards.
He shows 9-5 there, Dave.
Yeah.
He actually did not flop a straight. He was open-ended with the 9.
Yeah. No, he top pair.
You're right. Top pair and a gut shot to the
Yeah.
6. Yep.
But I mean, Russ is one of those players where he will bet on the button with a flush draw, right, or even a straight draw. But if he follows through and bets again on the turn, he pretty much has minimum top pair.
Right.
And sure enough, he did. He had a 9 there. And once again, the players do not have to show everybody their cards. That's obviously not fair to him or the table, but they all have to do is just slide it over the camera so we can see him.
Right.
And there, Russ actually showed the entire table. He didn't have to do that because he wasn't called.
Look at Arvin on 2+2. He says, "You're a Melvin for having a name Funerd." The guy that was complaining on 2+2. We get a raise here by Russ with Ace King in seat 7. He's going to take it down with
Take
the
it
flop.
down, Hollywood.
Yep.
Tell you, Hollywood has really stepped up his game in recent weeks.
Yep. And another interesting post by Arvin. Can't believe the button's in every single hand. Don't they have less marginal hands some of the time?
It's one of the reasons why we chose the button, obviously. We figured the button would be playing more than, say, under the gun.
Right.
Can you believe this? Ace queen. I was like, that's why I was just trying to figure. I was trying to put the whole hand together, and if these two had called in the middle, I would have been in there in a shot.
Well, thank you, sir.
Button's going to move over here to seat number 1.
Very ball.
Well, I figured you're trying to isolate this.
So we're going to play Mo blind here.
Right?
Seat 3's got Ace Queen of Hearts,
But it's with a hand, with some sort of hand, not a...
and Mo's going to raise.
I figured you probably got about what you had.
And Russ was talking about how he folded the Ace Queen. You would have had the winner against Paul and Dimitri there.
Yeah, but he can't call that. And Paul knows it. That's why he makes that move.
Mo is raised here. We don't know what he has.
Sometimes I haven't re-raised, sometimes...
And Max is going to make the call here with Ace Queen.
And I want to talk about that hand in a second after this hand, so I'll throw something at you.
And Max here is actually going to re-raise the pot, it looks like.
Actually, a little less than the pot. He only made it 100 more. He could have made it more than that.
So here we go. We're going to show Mo's hand as the deuce of clubs. Well, we showed as the deuce of diamonds then. 5, deuce, 3 here. Couple clubs. Max is going to bet here, and he's going to take it down.
Mo obviously could not see his hand.
Yeah, that blew up in my face when the deuce of clubs, of course, came on the flop.
Well, it doesn't really make a
Murphy's Law.
difference.
Yeah. I would just like, you're right, kind of like to have a little bit of an indicator, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Service. If you have chance, I need to serve.
Putton's going to move over here to seat 2.
No, service. Oh, service.
Gonna get a chip count in a second or two. Button moves over to seat number 2. That's a mirror, so we're not going to see Amir's hand.
He's had so much, he should have had a bottle.
already done with the first hour of the show here.
Amir limps in. We have no idea what he's got.
Yep. Limped around here 5 ways, so it's a $100 pot. Here we go to the flop. 8-6-4 with a couple of diamonds. 6-7 of hearts over there for Matt in seat 8.
Yeah, he's not a bad hand there. He's got a gut shot with second pair with backdoor hearts.
He's going to bet. He bets 110. Now, Mo has Jack 8 in seat 1, and he's going to raise the pot here with Jack 8. Amir is out of there. The phantom hand is out.
Probably had something like 10 high.
He makes it 330. Now,
Oh, that's-
Barry's got king 4. He's got bottom pair, backdoor diamonds with an overcard.
And that's the maximum raise you can do. He can call the 110 and then make it 220 more.
Right. Mo might be playing the player against Matt, who's kind of sometimes pretty tight, at least from up front.
Of course. I mean, you figure maybe Matt's taking a shot at it. If Matt doesn't have a really strong hand, he'll probably lay it down. And if you get played back at, you can safely throw your Jack 8 away.
Yeah, Barry has folded.
And sure enough, that's what Matt's going to do.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if Matt knows that Mo is somewhat weak, Matt could easily come over the top 500 more, and Mo would throw it away in a
Right.
heartbeat.
Right.
Easier said than done, though. Now, it's interesting to play as seasoned a pro as Paul is, and Paul picks it up. All that dead money is in there, and he goes, you know what, I'm going to pick this pot up right now with my pocket 8s. And he isolates what is, a steaming Dimitri there in
Right.
seat 5. The question is, what happens if Russ had picked up the same thing, and Russ had said, none of these players behind me are probably really strong. They've limped in. Paul limped in on the button. You can't have a really big hand. Is there any way now that I can isolate the steamer, and I can re-raise the pot, and everybody else will fold, and I get ace-queen against Dimitri?
Limped around here 4 ways. 9-8 deuce with a couple of clubs.
Open-ended for Amir.
Ace-9 here for Allen. And Allen's going to bet the pot here.
Now, this is one of those places where you really cannot drive out those draws. You can't get rid of the 7-6. There's no way.
Yeah, he's going to bet 100, and Amir's going to call him with 7-6 here. And Max, the hand that we're playing blind, he's going to call as well. Again, we're playing that hand blind.
And you can only surmise what might he have. Might he have an open-ended straight draw? Might he have an 8 or a 9? Or might he even have clubs?
Right.
Difficult to know right now. There's a lot out there.
Barry's out of the hand. Russ is out of the hand. We're looking at about a $400 pot here to the turn. The turn is an 8.
Well, if he had an 8, there he got there. See what happens. The action's to Allen.
Yep, again, we've got that phantom hand in seat 3, and Allen's going to bet
300.
He's going to bet 300, a little under the size of the pot here.
And now the pot is about, what, 550?
No,
Actually,
he bet a little under the size of the pot.
Oh.
The pot's about 700. Amir calls. Now it's 1,000. Amir's
$1,000.
calling with a 2 flush out there with a paired board, Dave. And the river's a 4, and everybody misses. Is
Yeah.
Allen going to put a little stop bet in here on the river?
Yeah, our phantom hand folded on the turn.
And you know what? Allen's going to move all in here. The pot's 1,000. He's going to bet about 750. I don't mind the bet there with ace-9. I mean, if you check it, there's no way that someone's going to try to bluff you out with only a little bit money left, right? When they know you only have a little money left, right?
Yeah, yes. You're 100% correct.
I mean, he's got
in
750. If I check, is Amir going to put in 750, knowing I'm probably going to call to an $1,800 pot?
Amir might. I mean, why might he? We've seen him do it. I mean, might Amir think this guy missed clubs? I mean, I understand what you're saying. Yes, if you were playing it against a player that was, a real seasoned pro like Paul or somebody like that, or even Mo, yeah, there's really no point in inducing a bluff because no player is going to bluff you. And we got a chip count here, almost $50,000 on the table. Barry's got the most on the table, $15,000. Amir with $10,000. Let's see how they're doing. Well, Amir, a big winner, up $8,000 tonight. Dimitri, he's down over $7,000 tonight. Barry's up $4,200. And let's get back to the table.
If you want to raise the pot 120.
Button's going to move over here to Barry Woods in seat 6. And Allen here is going to raise the pot. We need to see his cards over there in seat 9. Seat number 3 is going to call with ace-9 here. And we've got 3-way action. Allen is raised with king-queen. flop comes out 10-7-7 with a couple spades. We've got ace-9 in the hand and 7-3 of diamonds, as well as a phantom hand here for Barry. And Dimitri's got trip sevens, and he checked it from seat 5. It gets checked around. The turn is a jack, and now Alan's open-ended. But if Dimitri has 7-3 of diamonds here.
And we know Alan is drawing to a win here. If Alan gets an ace or a 9, he can beat Dimitri, and he might beat Dimitri for a lot of money. And I think Alan can call this.
Yep, Dimitri bets 300 here.
Knowing that the implied odds are huge against a player like Dimitri.
Alan makes the call.
Alan might even think a king or a queen are good. Obviously, we know better.
Got a $900 pot here, and the river's a king, but, that gives Alan top here, but Dimitri's got the best hand.
Well, and I don't know if Alan's going to get away from this, though. Not against Dimitri. It's a really tough laydown against Dimitri.
Alan checks, and Dimitri just checks right behind him with 3 sevens there, Dave. Did not value bet the river. Wow.
Really? Wow, that's surprising. Okay. I'm amazed.
Unbelievable. And he takes down about a $1,000 pot there.
I mean, I guess if you take a beating like he's taken the first hour of the show, he gets a little bit gun shy there. Anyway, so back to that last thing. When Alan had ace-9 with 9-8-8 out there, I mean, I guess if you think Amir's got a 9, maybe you value bet.
Yeah.
But if you put Amir on a straight draw or a flush draw, maybe you do check to induce a bluff. You never know. Sometimes these players, I know you would never bet into that because you wouldn't try to bluff Alan, but is Amir thinking that far? I'm just drawing this as Amir. I'm only wondering that.
Limped around here. We're going to play Russ's hand on the button. 4-way action. 10-7-6 with a couple of clubs.
I think the best hand is Dimitri, right, with 9-6.
Yeah, but he's going to throw out a bet here. He's going to bet 80. With bottom pair here with 9-6. He's actually got 9-5, Dave.
Okay, thank you. So he has no pair.
Yeah.
He just got a gut shot.
Barry Woods is going to call with ace-3 here in seat 6. Wow.
Making a play?
Seat number 7 is going to call with a phantom hand. And Amir is out of there.
So we got a 3-way here.
Yep. Dimitri was the better on the flop. Barry Woods called. Amir is out and Alan's out. The turn is an 8.
And Dimitri's made a straight.
He's made the straight and he checked it. And everybody checks. And here we go to the river. The river's a jack. Well, the 9 here is good. Remember, Russ is on the button. We're playing it blind. Dimitri bet the flop, and he checked it when he got there on the turn.
It's hard to figure out what Russ has here. What did he call the flop with? Did he call with clubs and take the free card on the turn? And obviously would not have gotten there. Who knows if he backed into a pair or not? Obviously, very little information we got by his check.
And now Dimitri's going to bet. He's going to bet 300 here under the pot. I mean, was Barry Woods looking to pick up backdoor clubs there?
And
Russ is showing King 7 offsuit. He called the flop, took the card in the turn when it was a one-liner, and then folded the river.
He called the 100, thinking maybe these guys are on a draw.
Right.
And he was right. Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. It's kind of an experimental night of Live at the Bike. We're doing 10-20 pot limit hold'em. And special feature tonight is we're not showing the buttons cards. So we're guessing what they have, and you're guessing what they have, based on how they play the hand. Also, with pot limit, obviously, you can only bet and raise the pot at any given time. So your bring-in bet is $70.
Limped here by Max in C3. Barry's limped with Jack 8. Matt, we're playing blind in Seat 8. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way action here. It's a $100 pot. Here we go to the flop. Jack 10, 7. 6-9 of clubs for Max in C3. He's got a gut shot and a flush draw. Barry's got top pair with a gut shot to the 9.
Yeah, it's a nice flop for Max there.
Now, it gets checked over to Barry here, and I believe he's going to bet the pot, which is 100. Now, Max's hand, is it big enough to make a nice check raise here, Dave? He's got clubs. He's got a gut shot to the 8.
The funny thing is, in pot limit, there's obviously... And to me, the strategy of pot limit would be here, you might check raises, but you might just call this, build a little bit of pot. If you hit your hand, you can win a big pot.
And it's just a call here from Max, so we're heads up 6-9 of clubs against Jack 8. The turn's a Jack, and Barry's made trip Jacks.
Yep. Now, the interesting play will be if an 8 were to come off, Max would make a straight, but Barry would fill up.
Barry's going to bet the pot, and a quick call here by Max. We've got about a $1,000 pot to the river. The river's an ace, and Max misses everything.
Yeah, the 8 would have been the killer card for Max there. He would have backed into a straight, and it would have got killed. And is Max going to... No, Max is going to give up. He's not going to even try it.
Well, let's see here. Barry's looking over and see how can he bet here with 3 jacks with an 8 kicker. He's trying to figure out, Dave. And he's going to bet. He bets 400 here, Dave.
400 into what, about
$950 pot, and Max
That's
is going to
fine.
release it. And there it is. Again, we're here live at the bike. We're playing 10-20 pot limit hold'em, and we're playing the button blind here. So bear with us. Button's going to move over here to Alan in seat 9.
You test your poker knowledge, test your reading skills, test our reading skills.
Yep.
We've been doing this for quite a while. Can we do it? Can you do it without seeing the cards? So now the pot is already $70.
They already saw it.
I didn't mean to throw it there. It bounced on the card.
Button's going to move to seat 9.
David, did I screw up? I already showed him. Don't show the others. No limit
Live straddle, call by Dimitri, call by Alan. We're going to play Alan hands blind,
Wow, a lot of money in there.
and we're going to see 4-way action here.
$160 pot already.
Again, we are playing Alan's hand blind, and look at this.
And there it is.
Max is going to put the pot raise in from the straddle spot and see.
And that's what he can do. He can actually, he calls the 40, makes the pot 200, and he can raise the pot.
Dimitri's going to call with King 5 offsuit here. $600 pot, 200 for Alan to call. Alan calls. We're playing his hand blind,
Mo's not going to play it. Amir's not going to play it.
and we have about
800, right?
$800 pot going 3 ways. Max, the pre-flop raiser, out of the straddle spot. Here we go to the flop.
Mo is not in the hand.
Jack 9-4 with a couple of spades.
Mo and Amir are not in the hand. There you go. And it looks like Max is going to put out a little continuation bet, see if he can represent.
It's an $800 pot. Remember, Alan is in the hand in seat 9 on the button.
Now, Dimitri obviously has nothing here. I'll probably fold. Even
Max is
Dimitri.
going to make a pot-sized continuation bet.
Well,
That's
he-
800.
Put a little shot out there and see if he can take it. The problem is he's committing an awful lot of his stack, isn't he? And what do you do if you get called here? You don't know if your opponent has queen 10, 10-8, or spades. Do you continue firing with ace high? I mean, it really puts you in a tough spot. I mean, look, Dimitri's actually thinking about it. With king high, we have no idea what Alan has. Alan calling on the button, he could have anything from 6-3 to 6-3 of hearts to ace 10, king jack, who knows? Any guesses what Alan might have here?
I mean, it could be any. I mean, it could be any 2 cards. Could be ace rag. Could be ace 4.
I mean, it's not like Alan calling a $200 raise on the button is
Right.
That's
Means
surprising.
really means that much.
exactly.
You know?
You don't get that much information. Certain players you do get a lot of information from. Let's say if a player like Matt or a player like Paul were to call a $200 raise on the button, we can start eliminating some hands that they probably don't have.
Dimitri's going to get away from it. Well, Alan didn't have much. We didn't get to see what he had there. And Max is going to take it down there. Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. Got an email here from John Wooldridge. He says, just want to let you guys know that I think you're the best poker announcers on the airwaves by far. Your show has improved my game tenfold, and I can now say that I'm winning consistently. I listen to your show daily while playing online. Thank you very much, John from Arlington, Virginia.
That's awesome.
The name Amir. You know what?
Were you straddling?
You know,
I'm glad you're winning.
You know what name Amir means?
Email here from Brando. He says, I have a question for Tuckman. How much did his training with the Israeli Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations benefit him in his altercation?
Keep up the good work, fart, and fuck me. Thanks, Brando. Appreciate it.
Let me tell you something. I swear, ask Mo.
I'm a very dangerous man. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. I was really just defending myself last night. Like I said, I really think the guy was kind of on drugs or definitely drunk, something.
Well, we've got a limp here by Dimitri, a limp by Barry with King Queen. We're playing Mo's hand blind, and I guess we're playing Dimitri's hand blind because I think he's playing it blind himself, Dave.
I know what you're talking. When you
Amir has raised the pot here.
Oh, I'm getting you.
As long as the
Actually, you should get the drink.
Yeah, Amir is...
When you want it right there. I know what $100 $10 for a drink tip, man.
Dimitri has called, Barry has called, and it's over to Mo.
players.
Dimitri's got 9-6 offsuit, and Mo calls. So we've
Wow.
got four-way action here, and the flop comes out ace 8-8. We're missing 9-6 for Dimitri. The pot is about, I want to say, $700. And again, we're playing Mo's hand blind here.
Now, we don't know, obviously. We'll find out pretty quick if Mo's got an ace or an 8 or maybe hearts.
Amir bets 300 here. Barry is going to fold here, the king-queen. And it's going to be over to Mo. And if he folds, we want to see his cards in the window.
I'm right.
He's got 10-7 there, Dave. He doesn't have much.
Yep, and he's going to fold. And that's the perfect way to do it there. Mo showed him in the
Yeah.
cards. The table doesn't get to see his cards, but we do, which is great.
Yep.
Nice little bet by Amir there. It's a $300 bet. It's a little bit under the pot, but it's kind of a feeler. He wants to see if he gets called. Because if you get called on that kind of bet, you can start putting your opponents on hands there. Obviously not much of a draw. There's a heart draw out there, but no straight draw, obviously.
Button's going to move over here to seat 2, Amir.
Oh, I'm in. Now you're talking.
Look at Sheila scared though. She may not come.
Okay, I'm out.
Why? What's wrong?
22 Skidoo's, let's see what his 22 Skidoo's advice. He says, just have the players put the cards on the window as usual and stick a piece of paper over the monitor that shows the window. When he's about to fold, remove the paper and see what he has.
No, I know an easy way to rectify this. No, all we need to do is add one little thing to the code, Dave, where we put a foreign character before the hand into the button's hand. That's all we need to do.
Very simple.
Yeah.
280 here.
Dimitri here he's straddled, and he's going to raise the pot.
I think it actually works out fine the way we're doing it.
He makes it $280 to go here. He's got pocket 4s. And Russ is going to call with king 9 of hearts. So Dimitri straddled, and he raised the pot. Russ is called. Seat 8 here is going to call with pocket 6s.
280.
So this pot is approaching, boy, almost $900 already. Amir is going to fold.
And 6s are a little bit low to make the same move that Paul made earlier.
Right.
There's a good chance Dimitri just has overcards, and you really want to risk that much money with just overcards. Remember, Dimitri's pretty deep now. Dimitri's got over $5,000, so do you.
Here we go, three-way action, $900 pot, and look at this. Matt and Dimitri have both flop sets on a 3-flush board here, folks.
Neither player,
Wow.
obviously neither player has a flush draw.
5, 4, 6, 2 sets with a 3-flush. Dimitri's going to pot bet it here with bottom set. It's an easy fold for Russ. And how is Matt going to play it here? Now, it's much harder for Dimitri to play this hand than it is for Matt. With top set, I think you can still go to war here, especially against a guy who's real aggressive with the 3-flush. Like I've been saying, people that have been watching the show, with bottom set, it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Now, it's funny. I mean, I got into a situation like this against Mike, and there are times where you want to slow play against Dimitri into position, but I don't think you can here.
And Matt's going to raise the pot all in, and Dimitri's going to call, and Dimitri is in horrible shape. We're looking at an $8,000 pot here, folks. The turn is a 7, and the river's a jack, and Matt is going to double through here with top set.
Yep.
Wow.
And I like the way Matt played the hand there. He didn't let the. First of all, if he waits till the turn, he might get his action killed there. You never know with Dimitri.
Might scare himself, too, right?
He might scare himself. And it's one of the things I was actually just saying. If anybody remembers, like about a month ago, I got into a hand with Mike. Similar flop. I had top set.
Yeah.
And I love to slow play against Mike because I know he's going to keep betting into me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I didn't want to scare myself. And if by chance Mike had a big hand, you know, I was willing to go to war with top set, and I think Matt felt the same way there. You know what?
Right.
If Dimitri has a flush, I'll go to war. We'll see what happens. And look at that. Matt doubles up again, and Matt is huge tonight. Look at that. Roswell on 2+2. Taking the money home. And everybody was, you know, the 2+2 player, they're always wondering, why don't any of the 2+2ers come on the show?
Right.
And clean up? Well, here's one of them. And Dimitri is now stuck. I mean, what is he down, about $12,000, $11,000?
Yeah, something like that, which is a lot in this game.
Yeah. Especially pot limit, which inherently will play a little bit smaller than no limit.
Yep. It's a little bit of a smaller game.
Yeah.
Button's going to move over here to seat 3, max.
I mean, instead of the opening raise being 120 and then re-raising it to 400, the opening raise is to 70. So.
I got to tell you, the difference between some people who don't necessarily play pot limit, but if Dimitri wanted to play pot limit, you know, I think some of these players are willing to play pot limit.
Definitely.
Because they, you know, they want to play against Dimitri, who's a lot of action and brings a lot of money to the table.
Yeah. I told Mo right away, I said, Hey, if you can't get 9 players to play pot limit, let me know. I'll jump in a heartbeat.
110 is the bet.
Allen's going to raise here to 110. He's got ace, king of spades. Amir calls with ace, 9 of clubs. The button's out. And Dimitri's going to re-raise the pot up to 400 with 8, 5 of clubs. Now, if you're Allen here, do you just move in? I mean, with ace, king here, Dave.
Well, it depends how much money Allen has left. What does he have left? I think you certainly raise the pot.
See if we can get a headshot at Allen there.
I think you certainly raise the pot. Oh,
yeah, he's only got 900 left there, Dave. I think this is a clear push here for Allen.
I think you push it in, you close out Amir, you get rid of him, and you isolate Dimitri.
Especially, look at this, Russ is called. Now I think it's a clear push.
Yeah, it's an easy push. You isolate him.
Allen is going to push here, and we are talking when Allen pushes now, the pot is about $2,000, I want to say. That's a rough estimate. 400, a re-raise, all in. It's about a $2,000 pot. It's going to be another 800 or 900 for Amir to call. He's going to fold.
1,030.
It's going to be 1,000, and it's going to be $600 for Dimitri to call here.
And I think obviously it's a clear fold for Russ here. Dimitri's probably going to throw the money in there. He's been gambling all night. I can't see him stopping now. You know what? He's got live cards. He's not in that bad shape.
Yeah, I think it's about 600 for Dimitri to call. It's 1,000 total that Allen has pushed in here.
I mean, Allen does not have an overpair here, so, maybe, what is it, 60-40, 62-38?
Now, Dimitri is cutting out chips. Is he trying to re-raise to shut Russ out so he can get heads up with Allen? I mean, look at all the chips he's got there.
Yeah, I think he's going
to raise the pot.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. I don't think Russ was going to call a $1,000 bet anyway, was he?
Yep.
Was he really going to call 800 more?
Yeah,
anyway?
Russ is out, so it doesn't matter. Well, Dimitri's got live cards here. Here we go. We're talking about a $3,000.
Why would you try to isolate with 8-5 of clubs anyway?
$3,000 board run here. 8-5 against ace king is suited.
And Dimitri doesn't want to run more than once. He's a gambler.
Here we go.
Oh,
look at this. Trip fives. Allen needs a king. He needs a king here on the river, and it doesn't come. And Dimitri is going to break Allen here with 5-8 of clubs.
And what is Allen going to do? If we get a shot of Allen, I'd love it. And you know what? That's class by Allen. All he does is tap the table. You can't bemoan. This is what annoys me more, and I'm going to throw this out at you. If you are playing in a game, okay, and you get a player like Dimitri who's here to gamble, he's here to have fun. He doesn't care if he throws around $15,000, but he's going to suck out one time. He's not even suck out 2 or 3 times. If he sucks out on you, live with it. Tough shit, okay? Just reach in your pocket and buy in for more.
Yep.
Don't yell at him. Don't attack him for playing 8-5. That does nothing. You want him in this game. He's here to gamble, okay? And you know what? He's going to suck out once in a while. And obviously, Allen didn't do anything wrong. He isolated. He had ace-king against, 8-5. He's probably, a 64-36 favorite, 2-1 favorite, pretty much. He just got sucked out on. Tough crap. Button is in seat 4. I don't think Paul is playing. He's not. And I want to say this is limped around. No, well, Dimitri's going to raise it over the small blinds. Getting word that Mo wants to do pot limit every Thursday night now. That would be interesting if we make it Thursday pot limit night. See how that works out. Let us know what you think about it. Email us at live@thebike.com. It's live@thebike.com. Let us know if you'd like to see a pot limit game every week. Maybe a little bit of a smaller bind, maybe a 5-10 pot limit game. Dimitri's going to take this down on the flop. He bets it. He had ace high. Nobody else had anything. And you got to realize when you're playing against a guy like Dimitri, and we saw this on Wednesday night, Kelsey got involved with a hand against Frank Mariani. Now, Frank Mariani wasn't playing it quite as crazy as Dimitri is, but Frank Mariani was certainly splashing a lot of chips around the table. And Kelsey committed an awful lot of chips, basically all his chips, with a really weak hand. And you got to point out that players like this, they get hands too. They're going to get pocket aces just as much as you do. They're going to get ace-king just as much as you do. Just because they're flashing it around with 8-5 or Jack-3 doesn't mean that they always have a crap hand. Keep that in mind. It's one of the reasons you don't necessarily want to commit your chips to, say, pocket 5s, pocket 6s. When you start getting up to pocket 8s or pocket 9s, say it's a little bit different. And I believe we got a bunch of limpers. Mo actually limped in with pocket 8s. I bet you if he had gotten the raise from Dimitri, he might have re-raised here. But I think we got a raise from... I believe we got the raise. I'm trying to think. We did get the raise from Barry, actually. He made it 120. He made the raise with Queen 10 of Hearts, actually. And, I'm surprised Barry would make that raise. Dimitri had limped in. Problem is now it gets back to Dimitri, and if Dimitri makes it 500, what's Barry going to do now? He's going to basically throw his 120 away. And we've got this pot. I'm trying to think, and I believe Dimitri has just called.
Oh, Dimitri's
So
actually
Paul just
re-raised.
called?
Yeah, Paul has just called. And
Paul
Dimitri's-
just called, and Dimitri raised the 600, which is exactly why I was wondering what the heck Barry was doing.
Right.
Dimitri actually limped in on the button. Okay, we have no idea what Dimitri has. And Barry makes it 120, which opens up the betting.
Right.
It doesn't. You can't get anybody out. He opens up the betting here, and you wonder if Paul is going to commit his chips to Ace 10. Is Ace 10 good enough to commit your chips with against Dimitri?
Well, look at Max. He's got Ace 4. He's still thinking about it. Now, Mo folded pocket 8s. Again, we're playing Dimitri's hand in Seat 5 blind on the button. He has pulled what Paul did to him earlier, the limp pot re-raise on the button. Pre-flop.
And that's why I just don't understand what Barry was thinking there. I mean, he raises there. Why not take the free
And look
flop?
at this. Max is going to call with Ace High. He calls with Ace 4.
Every dog has his day.
He calls with Ace 4, and Paul's out of there with Ace 10.
Interesting by Mo. Mo decided not to gamble with pocket 8s there.
And this pot is about $1,000. Well, 3-3-4 here on the flop.
Well, we have no idea. Max has got top pair.
Look at this. Max checks. Dimitri bets the pot, and Max is going to go all in. And Dimitri says call. Here we go. $5,000 again. The flop is deuce 3-4. Max has got a wheel draw on top pair that turns the 8 of clubs, and the river is a 3. Let's see what they
and
have.
Who knows? I have no idea what Dimitri has here.
It's a $5,000 pot. Ace 4. And Dimitri, we see one card, the 9 of spades, Dave.
Yeah,
We'll match this right now.
So he's got the card.
This is more than 200. I'm sorry.
I believe he actually had ace 9.
Wow, what a horrible beat that is.
I believe he actually had ace 9. And I was just talking about it. You stepped out for a second. I was just talking about committing your chips. With what kind of hand can you commit your chips with? And I think ace 4 is just not the hand I'm going to commit my chips with. I've got to realize that I am not a big favorite over any hand with ace 4.
Over any holding, Dave, because,
No.
I mean,
He has jack 8. I'm not a big favorite.
How about 5-9?
I'm not a big favorite over any hand.
Yeah.
Now, Mo, the interesting thing was Mo could have re-raised and isolated and won that pot, obviously, with pocket 8s. Mo decided not to gamble. Now, I was saying that I think 5s and 6s are probably a little too small to gamble with. I think when you start getting up to 8s and 9s, there I think you almost have to gamble.
Yeah. And wow, a 5,000. How many $1,000 board runs? I call them board runs. 5-card board runs have we seen tonight on the show here by Dimitri. This is incredible stuff. And if he had ace 9, we would
Why
have
aren't I in this game?
ace 9, ace 4, and ace 10, and Mo would have filled up on the turn.
I got to tell you, what a 24 hours for me. First, some crazy maniac tried to start a fight with me last night, and now I've got to watch this game instead of playing it.
Email here from Augustin Navarro. He said, wonder if Antonio
Esfandiari
has ever played in Live with Bike. He actually did not. He actually commentated for about 5 minutes one time during Legends in August.
We've had pretty much everybody else on the game, in the game. Ted Forrest.
Look what Dimitri's woken up with now in Seat 5, Dave.
Well,
He's
that-
got pocket kings, and he's going to raise the pot.
I love it. I
Why
love it.
not?
He's making the play with both hands.
Yeah.
And you know what I love? I was just pointing out that players that are playing like Dimitri, maniacs, you know what I mean? They wake up with hands too sometimes.
And look at Russ. Russ is going to get involved here with Queen Jack. Amir's going to call with King 9.
And I got to tell you, if any of these players hit top pair, actually, if any of these players hit a pair,
Yeah.
they might go broke to Amir.
This could be
Dimitri.
huge for Dimitri here. The pot is about 400 as we go to the flop. Low cards.
We were rooting for him. I know you were. I was. Anyway,
And Dimitri's going to pot it. With a big slam down. He pots the bet.
yeah, pretty straightforward there.
Yep.
And he is an over. Look at 99% chance of winning this pot.
Just too bad for him that no one. I mean, what if the flop comes up 9 deuce deuce there? Does Amir lose all his money?
Yes. Well, he doesn't lose all his money, but he definitely doubles up Dimitri. I think if the flop comes out Jack 9 deuce, he might commit with King 9.
That's amazing.
Amir's going to show the pocket king.
Oh man, I tell you. Now, obviously, Antonio Esfandiari has never played on the show. He's been in the booth, like you said, doing commentary. But we've had Ted Forrest, we've had Jerry Buss, we've had Tim Fan. We've had Sean Shaken. We've had
Kathy Liebert's played on the show. Barry Greenstein's done 3 full episodes on the show.
Kenneth James, Johnny Chan.
And if you want to see any of this stuff, you can just click on the on-demand banner in the upper left-hand corner of the screen at liveatthebike.com. Check it out.
Yeah.
Sign up for the archives. Get you access. Greg Raymer did a whole 2-hour show with me back last February.
I'll tell you, even if you think Bart and I are complete morons, and don't worry, you're not alone. Most people do. Even if you think we know nothing about poker, go to the archives. Barry Greenstein has done 6 hours of commentary. Greg Raymer, like you said, done 2 hours. Those 8 hours alone is worth, I'd say, hundreds of dollars.
Max is raised here with pocket aces, the pot. Dimitri just called with Queen 8, and Alan called with King 9. And look at the flop. Queen Jack 10. Alan's got a straight. Look at this. Max has got an overpair, and Dimitri's got top pair and a gut shot to the 9. Wow.
What a night of poker.
Max is going to bet 330. Dimitri calls, and Alan's flopped the straight. He's probably going to check raise pot all in here from up front.
And I got to tell you, Alan's lucky here. King 9 is a sucker's hand. In a raised pot, do you really like that straight? I mean, he's lucky here because he's got the nuts, but man, I mean, it's very easy for somebody to have ace-king here.
He's going to move all in. It looks like it's another, I want to say, 1,400, which makes the pot, Dave, about 3,000, and it's going to be 1,100 for Max to call. With Dimitri behind you, can you call here if you're Max? Not a great flop for aces, right?
I think it's an easy laydown for aces here. I think the worst hand Alan could have here is King Queen. Problem is Dimitri could have anything. You never know with Dimitri.
Wow. 1,074 here for Max, and Max looks like he might call here.
It's just a real ugly flop for aces.
Again, it is a $3,000 pot, about 1,000 for Max to call. Well, he hasn't put the chips in yet here.
Problem is one of your opponents it's a raised pot. One of your opponents could easily, he's going to call. One of your opponents could easily have 2 pair, a set, or a straight already.
And it's back now. It's over to Dimitri. $4,000 pot, 1,000 for him to call, and then he's going to deal with side money between him and Max if he makes this call.
Obviously, an even easier laydown for Dimitri.
Yeah, he's going to fold it.
And, unless Max catches
a king or running diamonds, right?
Yeah.
Turns a jack. That's one. Well, actually, running diamonds not going to do it. And the river's a king.
Oh,
and aces
man.
is going to take it down. What a beat! Oh my!
Oh,
10
geez.
jack, queen, king.
Yeah, that's awful.
Alan has gotten the worst beats here tonight, Dave.
Yeah, that really sucked. Man, the jack on the turn, and look, Alan's just.
Oh wow!
Poor Alan. It's funny. When he wins a hand with 6-3, he kind of goes, "That's Alan." I guess that wasn't that. You don't see that. That's Alan there. When the jack came in the turn, obviously you pick up a couple of more outs. If an ace comes or a jack comes, he's got a full house.
Unbelievable. Email here from Will Farrer. She says, "I've seen 1-2 no limit cash games that's made its way on the Live the Bike show occasionally. How does an aspiring poker player like myself make his way onto the telecast?" We actually do a 5-5 game normally on Tuesdays, which is a $300 min, $500 max. And we do a 3-5 $200 game on Thursdays.
Yeah, and sometimes we do the $80 game.
Now, a programming note. Next week, we're doing limit on Tuesdays for everyone out there in 2+2 land that wants to play.
Right.
We're doing it kind of a 3-5 Barry Woods' home game, hopefully with Shirley Rosario on
Monday.
On Monday.
Yeah.
And limit on Tuesday.
And I'm actually getting word, Mo actually asked, you were out of the booth for a second, he said that he'd like to put a pot limit game on the show every Thursday.
Really?
And we'll talk to our producer about that, obviously, but I'm all for that. I'd love to see a pot limit game every Thursday. Maybe like a 5-10 pot limit game.
If the game is good,
I'm a big fan of pot limit. I think it's a great game.
if the game is good,
We're going to get a chip count coming up next hand here, Dave. It's limped around here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 players plus 5 players with the button. So we're doing the button blind here tonight. 5 deuce through. We can see that everybody missed from up front, but Mo's got the overpair up front. And he checked it, Dave. Took a card. Everybody checked. The turn's a 4.
Now look at Max's hand. Max has got a great hand here because Max has got the ace, but he also has a 6. And if anybody has an ace, they might think it's a chop, and he might be able to get a lot of money out of their hand, out of him. But unfortunately for him, nobody's got the ace.
But look at this. Mo calls with 7s here.
Well,
And the river's a 4.
not going to change anything. And I wonder if Max is going to put a little,
Yeah, he's going to put a $300 bet in here. Well, Mo can't beat an ace. He can't beat a 6.
Yeah, that's the problem. And against a bad player, now Mo is obviously a very experienced player. Against a bad player, I will sometimes overbet with the ace-6 here, hoping that I get a call from an ace. really
saying-
putting pressure on him.
Mo's saying ace jack, ace jack. Well, you know, if you're Mo here, Dave, you've got to figure the only thing that you can beat here is if somebody was betting with a 5. Would someone really bet that river with a 5?
Well, no, they might be betting with spades. How about, I mean, a misdraw? Like, if they have a 6 or they have a spade draw? No, actually, not a 6. I'm sorry. I would say 6 is a straight.
Yeah.
Just
There's
a
just
spade
nothing
draw.
that Mo can beat. That's the point I'm trying to make.
He can only beat, really, a king-high flush draw, a king-high spade draw.
He's really trying to look at him.
I mean, he can't even beat the ace-high flush draw, obviously, because that's a straight.
Right.
I mean, everybody checked the flop, and Mo maybe thinks that Max was just trying to pick up the money in the middle.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and
Oh,
Mo's going to
wow,
call.
Mo calls. That's real surprising. And Max is going to take it down there with the 6. He had the both ends of it.
I mean, I'll say, you know, there's a fine line. When you make a tough call like that, it's really a fine line between looking like a complete idiot and looking like a genius. And oftentimes I'll make a tough call like that, and people will be like, how did you call that? And you know what? I'll be like, you know what? The way I figured it, I go, this guy either had a monster or he had nothing at all, and I thought there was a big enough chance that he had nothing at all, and the pot was laying me enough that I thought I had to call.
Another email from Bernie McAtinye. He says, Dave, after the fight, did you call someone Melvin? Did you call him a Melvin? Is that why you got into the fight?
I did not call him a Melvin.
Let's take a look at the chip count here. We've got almost $50,000 on the table. Barry controlling the table here with $14,000.
I tell you, if I didn't see Barry's name on the board, though, I wouldn't even know he was in the game.
Let's take a look at the differences here. Dimitri's down, about 11,000 here.
Wow.
Amir in seat 2 is up $8,000, Dave.
And Matt is only up 3,600.
Apparently.
Matt's doubled up twice. That's phenomenal. I mean, I don't understand how he's only up 3,600.
I got a monster brewing.
Well, we're heads up here between seat 5 and seat 6. King 10-3 here. King Jack here for seat 5, 5-6. Dimitri checks the king. He checks it again. He's trying to reel Barry in here with 5-6. And the river here is a 6.
And check, check.
Yeah,
Dimitri
check,
never
check.
bets it.
Lower than that, though.
And King High is going to get it. I mean, well, not King High, pair of kings.
Yep.
Barry picked up a pair on the river, figured, I don't need to bet this. Maybe I'll win with a pair of 6s.
There it is. Dimitri, he never bet there with the King Jack. Picked up the open-ended straight draw there on the turn.
And thanks for the email, Brian. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
And the post, checking out the 2+2 post by Eastern Block, and you have it exactly correct here. So Tuck is very nicely trying to explain, don't tap on the glass.
Right.
But it's more than that. It's also a matter of being manners as well. Not just tapping on the glass, but it's also a matter of, you know, you've got to take the good with the bad. If a guy is giving you all sorts of action, you know, and he's gambling it up and he's down $10,000, or even if he's up $10,000, but if he's giving that kind of knowledge, that kind of action, you know, he's going to give you bad beats. He's going to have the worst hands 98% of the time.
I got the flop. Beats, I go out. If I don't flop it, I go
Button's going to move over here to seat 2, and the ever-lovable Alan is back to the table here, Dave.
You got lucky. You had odds. You got lucky back on you.
No, I mean, how can
Okay, and also the dealer really didn't organize the card for
What is that? What is that, Alan saying?
That's all she does.
Barry is, Alan's blaming it on the dealer.
That dealer is out of my life.
Yeah, Alan is one of those guys. He'll change chairs. He'll change dealers. And he gets a little bit nasty when he starts losing, and a lot of people do.
Dimitri straddled it. We had a couple of limpers, and Mo has raised the pot here from Ace King.
Pretty straightforward there.
Not this dealer, it's you.
Now, Matt limped in here with Ace-9 of diamonds. We're heads up. Dimitri folds the straddle, and I don't think Matt's going to get involved with Mo out of position with Ace-9 of diamonds.
And you know, when Dimitri sucked out on Alan, that kind of got him off tilt.
No, I'm losing player in that.
That got him off, because you think about it, literally every single hand he was raising and putting it all in.
Right.
Then he sucked out on Allen, he doubled up, and that kind of calmed him down a little bit. It put a smile on his face. And you can see now he's kind of playing more like just normal Dimitri.
2 5s and 1 8. How the fuck this can happen? Oh, wait.
Get a question here from Larry here.
I'm sorry, Dave. Every time Alan says fuck, I just give a giggle.
He's like a little fourth grader saying it, isn't he?
Right.
I'm looking for the third one. No.
Do you know my best friend's daughter?
I know that.
She learned this word, and she's in Target the other day with her mother. And there's a woman behind her, and the 2-year-old goes, "Skanky bitch, skanky bitch." This is a 2-year-old. I was laughing my ass off when I heard that story. Is that the funniest thing you ever heard? And I was like, where did you hear that? And all the mother could do, the mother was just kind of like shy, blushed.
Limped around here.
Anyway, email here from Larry. Have you guys ever thought of putting a different game on besides Hold'em? Maybe you should try a high-stakes Omaha or horse-style game.
Well, we've got 4-way action here. Dimitri's in the big blind. Flop comes out ace, king, jack. Now, Mo's got jack 10, Amir's got king, queen. Alan's got a straight draw. And Amir gets checked to him. He's going to bet 60. Dimitri folds. Now, is Alan... No, Alan's not going to get involved with queen.
I don't think Mo's going to get involved either. Well,
you
what
know,
do I know?
He does. He makes the call against Amir.
With 2 clubs out there? I'm surprised. Can you really play it hard unless...
Turns a 9. Check, check. And the river's a 3. Now, is Mo going to represent clubs here? No, it just gets checked down.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah, I don't think you want to bluff him there. Try to bluff Amir there. He also says here, do you think that the rooms, he says he plays a lot in the Midwest, and he wants to know if the rooms in the Midwest will ever expand to have Omaha and 7-card stud. And obviously, I can't speak for them. I don't know. I don't play in the Midwest. But hopefully, as the poker craze gets bigger, obviously, we spread all those games on a daily basis.
Right. Well, the Midwest really encompasses a large area of the U.S., doesn't it?
Well, he says
all the
specifically
way from
Detroit and Windsor.
All the way from, like, western Pennsylvania, to, like, western Nebraska.
Yeah,
You know what I
probably.
mean?
Yeah.
It's a very big area.
Huge.
Yeah. I always think of Ohio as the generic American Midwest.
Ohio?
Yeah, just like kind of like a...
And that's actually a little bit more East Coast, isn't
right.
it?
Yeah. Pocket 8s here for Barry.
Yeah. Anyway, we might, in the future, put Omaha or even a horse-style game. Stud doesn't really work that well, but we might in the future. We'll see how it works out. But right now, Hold'em is the only game we can do.
Limped around here. The dealer said to Dimitri, "You're small blind." Dimitri folded, and he's like, "Yeah, I know it's small blind. I fold."
She was surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Dimitri. He's building a little fortress for himself.
Barry here is going to raise the pot with pocket 8s. He's going to make it 110. And Alan in seat 9 is going to call with the good old queen deuce of spades here from up front.
And that's why it's impossible to know what Alan has, ever.
And Alan says, "I'm on tilt, Barry." Well,
I believe it.
Barry's in good shape. Alan only has 1 overcard here.
How about like a queen 8 deuce flop? The way Alan's going, it'll probably come out that.
Here we go. It's about a $250 pot. Heads up to the flop.
Oh, that's a nice flop for
That's
pocket
a
8s.
real nice flop for 8s. 9, 6, 7.
Only 1 overcard. Heads up. See, you look at that board and you go, what a scary board, but it's heads up.
Barry bets the pot and Alan folds.
Yeah, I mean, if there were 6 callers, I'm scared of that flop. But with heads up, I'll take my chances.
Email here from David Moxness. He says, "Loving the pot limit action. You guys have my vote for. You have my vote for weekly action. The strategies are so much more complex as it makes for real interesting coverage." I agree with you.
Yeah. And you know what? Since we do 4 nights a week of no limit Hold'em,
Right.
it's nice to mix it up with a little pot limit.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we can do something along the lines of 3 nights of no limit and 1 night of pot limit
Well, you
and
know,
1
it's
night of
interesting.
limit.
We're talking about Paul in seat 4, really tight, solid player. He's South African, right? Or is he? I think he's either South African or English. The reason why I bring that up is because
I have no idea.
European players are more accustomed to pot limit. They've been playing a lot of pot
Yeah.
limit.
Oh,
for
Well, I mean,
years.
as recently as 4 or 5 years ago, I was playing pot limit in a different casino in L.A.
Right.
On a regular basis. The game was a 10-20 pot limit game.
Paul raises the pot here with ace-queen. He's going to take it down. Word is that George, the Greek poker god, is coming into the game here, Dave. I wonder if he has any experience playing pot limit.
I would imagine not. I've talked to him. He's only been playing Hold'em for a little over a year now. And I would be really surprised if he found the pot limit games over the last year.
Yeah. Interesting email here from Anthony T. He says, "I'd like to see you give that explanation of Dimitri's playing that 5-8 versus ace-king to crybaby Phil Hellmuth. You'd probably have another fight with Phil after he chokes Dimitri for playing that hand." The interesting thing about that email, Dave, is that anybody remembers the World Series from this year, when Hellmuth went off on that guy and said he was a donkey play with King Jack against Ace King, the guy with King Jack He's a guy that's been on Live with the Bike 2 or 3 times way back when in our 30-60 Hold'em game.
Yeah.
He played a couple hands blind. Blind betting
Yeah.
in 30-60 Hold'em.
I mean, I got to tell you, well, I'll get to Phil Hellmuth in a minute.
But that guy has been on Live with the Bike here. 3-way action, limped around.
Queen 10-8. Barry's on the button. He's in the pot. Obviously, don't know what Barry has.
Right.
And
Well,
I
he's
believe it
limping around.
checks around to Barry, and Barry's betting. And the only thing you have no idea really what Barry has here, right?
Yeah, he could bet, he could bet with any pair here, any draw.
He would actually bet Jack 9 here, wouldn't he?
And Allen calls with deuce 9, a gut shot to the Jack. Wow. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a 4. Allen still only has 9 high against Barry's mystery hand. Barry bet the pot on the flop. Allen is checked again, and Barry's going to bet again, and Allen folds before he even throws a bet out there.
And look at Mo moving to seat 7. He wants position on Dimitri.
Got a little over an hour left in the show here.
You will never see a seasoned professional poker player moving chairs because they're superstitious.
Right.
They're moving chairs for a different reason. They want position on certain players. And I'm really surprised Mo didn't know this before the game started. I mean, he knows the kind of player Dimitri is. Anyway, my opinion on Phil Hellmuth. Okay, I have respect for the guy. He's obviously got a great tournament record. He obviously knows how to play tournament poker. He's obviously very good at it, okay? I respect that. But here at Live at the Bike, we try to be politically incorrect. We try to keep it real. It's no bullshit, okay? We're going to say the truth. And Phil Hellmuth, I mean, I just don't think he has a clue when it comes to dealing with players like that. In this new era of poker, these are the guys you want in the game. What does he want to play against Phil Ivey and Jennifer Harmon all day and get his ass beat? Those are the guys you need in the game to make money. I mean, why would you want to berate that guy? I just don't understand it.
6-way action, limped around. We're playing Matt. That's Roswell on 2+2 and seat 8's hand blind on the button here. 10-4-6, couple clubs. Max actually has pocket 8s in seat 3, and it got limped around. The turn's a queen.
Well, that's different. I was going to say, I thought 7-8's actually a double gutter there. A
Yeah.
9 or a 5 would have given him a straight.
Yeah.
I like 7-8 better than 8s.
Turn was the queen of spades here. It's up over to Barry. Mo checks it. And Matt is also going to check.
And obviously, we have no idea what Matt has. What would he check twice there? Probably nothing.
River is a 3rd club. Again, Max is in the hand with pocket 8s.
You got to assume Matt has the best hand here. You got to assume that if Matt could beat pocket 8s, he would have bet at some point.
Well, now he's going to bet.
No, I'm
can
saying
bet-
Matt.
Right. Well, Max is now going to bet 50.
Yeah, and Matt throws his hand away.
Yeah, and Dimitri just shoves his chips over. He's moving over to seat 1, which kind of eliminates when Mo moved over to seat 7.
Yeah, he's got to be sitting there going, "What? I can't. I
Look at
moved for
that
you."
mound of chips there.
And George is going to come into seat 5 there. But you know what I mean? I mean, it just drives me to no end because you see players come in there. Another thing that drives me nuts is you see players that are relatively inexperienced, but they've read a few books.
Right.
They're kind of like the pre-flop hand selection police. And they sit there and go, how could you call my range with that hand? Or how could you do this? And I just don't understand. I try to explain to people, and I had this conversation with George when he berated that player like a month ago. And I said, who do you want to play poker
Well, I got to
against?
tell you, we talk about leaks in everyone's game, and everybody has leaks in their game, Dave. And leaks aren't necessarily, something within the actual game. I think one of George's leaks is berating Fish at the table. He's horrible. I mean, I look at him sometimes, I'm like, will you shut the F up? Right. Jesus. He's like, oh, you called me with a 2-under and you hit it? Nice call, man. Right. I mean, come on, George.
It just
Give us a
doesn't
break.
I mean, I'm just not sure who these guys want to play against.
Right.
I mean, does a player like George or Phil Hellmuth, do they want to play against 8 of the world's best day in and day out?
I mean, I know George was running bad towards the end of last year, and I know bad beats are tough and stuff, but you got to work through that sometimes. I mean, it's easier said than done. But I got to tell you, I have the same profession that he does, so I think I have more of a right to say it than someone that plays recreationally, because I think I handle my emotions well.
It just doesn't do you any good. Why do you want to drive out the fish? You
Right.
need them in the game to make a living.
Right.
If I had to play daily against players like you and Mo and Paul, I would not be a poker player. I'd do something else. Maybe I'd go be maybe I'd be a boxer. Or UFC, man. I could be UFC.
Mo is potted it. We'll call it potted it over there from seat 7 with ace-7 offsuit. Dimitri is called here with king-7. And Max has got pocket 4s here.
I'm telling you, man, I could do UFC, okay? I got pop. Oh, here we go. Okay. Back to the action.
Well, here we go. 3-way action here. Mo's the pre-flop raiser. Flop comes out Jack 9 deuce. It misses everyone. Max has got the best hand here with 7s. Checked over to Mo, and Mo's going to make a continuation bet here, Dave.
If anybody can't tell, I'm definitely a lover, not a fighter. Mo's going to take this down, isn't he?
Yeah, Mo's going to pot bet, and I don't think everyone's going to fold.
Yeah. Max has got 4s, but do you really want to get involved with 4s on that kind of flop?
You know what? I'm going to take that seat.
So we are going to get a detailed story on Monday, huh? Of the fight.
Yeah, I'm actually, not only is it a detailed story, I will put it in my blog. Actually, my blog was updated. Everybody go check out liveatthebike.com. Left-hand side, under the gun. Updated blog. I actually detail a couple of hands that I had. Altercation, I guess you could say, with Mike. But this was not a physical altercation. This was more of at the table. But very interesting, nonetheless.
I got to be honest with you.
Go.
Obviously, there's no reason for anybody to physically get involved against you because of what you're saying to them. There's never a justification for that. But some players I think you're mouthy at the table. Think that you talk a lot, you talk strategy, and sometimes they don't want to hear it. And I think it's part of your MO that you sometimes try to get under somebody's skin. So it doesn't surprise me that someone would come over and try to choke you over the table.
Bring it up. It's funny. I went home, right? And I was late because I was sitting I actually stopped playing at like 1:30, and I ended up sitting in the office for an hour because, Mark had to check the tape and all this stuff, security. So I go home late, and my wife's like, "Where were you?" And I was like, "Oh, we got in a fight. I got in a fight with somebody." And she goes, "What did you say?" First thing, what did you say? Because she knows me.
Look at this. Dimitri has pot raised it here from the button. We're going to go blind on his cards over there. He is raised. Seat 5 here, which is Alan is called with 4s. Barry's called with 9-10.
Well, Barry's open-ended with 9-10.
Flop comes 8-7-3 here.
And look at Alan. That's Alan. Alan is in there in the...
No. Seat 9 is not in the hand. Alan is in seat 5. He's got pocket 4s. Barry's got 9-10, and Dimitri's hand is blind.
I saw Alan's hand. I got all excited.
Dimitri is going to pot bet as a continuation bet. We don't know what he has. Alan folds 4s here. Now, Barry's open-ended. Like you said, he's going to get involved with his 2 flush here.
I think I don't mind getting involved here heads up against Dimitri. You know what I mean? It's Dimitri, and if you hit your hand, you're going to get paid off huge.
Now, I can see what Dimitri has, but we're going to play it blind, obviously, so it's okay. So, Dimitri has pot bet here. The flop, about 300. It's about a $600 pot.
Now, Dimitri on the button, him betting, that means nothing, right? That means absolutely nothing.
Could Barry check raise here?
The problem is if you get check raised and you get called, then what do you do? I mean, the problem is Dimitri might gamble with a hand as bad as ace high even. You don't know. So you might just want to call this, see if you hit it on the turn. If you hit it on the turn, you can really get a lot of money in there. If you don't hit it on the turn, you throw it away. I mean, I think you pick your spots. I think against a player like Dimitri, you're not looking to make moves. I think you're looking to make hands and then make them pay. I mean, to me, I just call this. I see the turn.
Although it depends on how much Dimitri has left. It's kind of difficult to see right there.
Yeah, I think he got a lot of white chips underneath that, though, doesn't he?
Well, I cannot beat diamond right now.
Barry's still thinking about it. Barry's going to lay it down. And Dimitri had king-queen offsuit there, Dave.
Yeah, and I don't understand how Barry lays that down against Dimitri. I mean, it's funny, Barry, sometimes I love Barry. I love the way he plays 89% of the time. But the other 11%, I just don't understand. He doesn't seem to be paying attention to the players he's playing against. We saw last week he gives action to a player like Paul. You know what I mean? And that wasn't actually Paul, but it was somebody else. But here, you don't give action to a guy like Dimitri? I mean, what are you thinking?
So kind of as a teaser for Monday, you actually got detained in an office while they reviewed the security camera?
I'm not really detained because I'm friends with all the security guys and Mark and everything.
Mark Ventry, the casino manager.
Yeah, it was more of just, Dave, hang out in here while we figure out what the heck happened. Which, they got my side of the story, they got his side of the story. Then they, went to the tape and they realized that his side of the story was complete bullshit and everything I said was true. And they also actually, checked it out. They corroborated it with everybody on the floor. I had like 20 witnesses that all were like, yeah, Dave is just defending himself.
Looks like we got a misdeal here. We had ace king, ace queen, and ace jack in the hand here, and what a misdeal.
Yeah.
Mo's got the ace king. George had ace queen, it looked like. And Amir had pocket jacks.
And everybody's going to get upset, but you know what? None of those cards would have been the same. Get over it.
So Georgian, the Greek poker god, in seat number 9. He's going to play a little pot limit hold'em. And Dimitri's going to play more musical chairs. He is going to move over to seat 3. And Dave, who's coming in over to seat 1? It's Ed Shananana Nazarian.
Oh, man, what a game. I got to tell you. I mean, this is one of those times where I actually would buy somebody's seat for $400 or $500. I really would. This game is just so juicy.
Look at this. Eastern Bloc on 2+2 has written, my guess is Todd Melvin was watching the telecast last night, got to the bike as soon as he heard his name, and then went stampeding through the bicycle after the telecast, trying to kill Todd for his insensitive comments, which ruined his life. There you go.
That would be hysterical. Wouldn't it be funny if it was like one of the guys that play in the game that we criticized that took it personal?
Three-way action here, limped around. It's a $60 pot. Ace, queen, 7. Actually, four-way action. Amir is on the button. We're going to go blind with his hands.
Mo's got a flush draw. Mo's got the 6-high flush draw.
Well, it gets checked over to Amir, and he's going to bet. Again, we're going to play his hand blind. Let's see what Mo's going to do. He's going to make the check call here with the flush draw.
Now, he's betting on the button, so he doesn't necessarily have anything. But since Mo's got the flush draw, maybe Amir's got a queen or an ace.
Weak ace or a queen. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a third ace.
And let's see if Amir bets. Amir's going to...
Well, that ace doesn't necessarily mean that...
No,
he probably still would bet with a queen here.
Well, no, exactly. He probably would check the queen if the ace didn't come, but now the ace came, he'll probably bet it.
He bets 200, and Mo's going to call, and we've got a pot that's about $750 here as we go to the river. Playing Amir's hand blind. The river's a jack. Now everybody misses, and Mo's just going to give up on it, dude.
Yeah, Mo misses, and is Amir going to bet this?
No, he just checked it down, and let's see what he has. He's got 7.
He's got a 7.
He's got a 7. 7, 3 of hearts, and he's going to take it down with
And we both assumed, obviously, he had some piece of the flop when he bet twice. We thought maybe he had a queen, but he had a 7, same difference. And Amir limping in with 7-3 offsuit on the button. Wow. Well, there you go.
Button's going to move over here to seat 3. Again, you can email us. We've got about an hour left in the show. liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions?
We were going to actually, there's a little tease that I'm going to throw out there. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do it, so don't hold us to it. But since obviously we have hundreds of cameras in the casino, and the fight that happened last night was on camera, we're going to see if we can get it and put it on our website.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure. Now, I mean, we're going to see what we can do. So, like I said, I don't want to promise anybody. Don't email us about it. If we can do it, we'll let you know about it. It probably only lasted about 6 seconds long.
We got a raise here by C3 with King Jack offsuit on the button.
But hey, we'll do anything for ratings, okay? That's what we're here. We're here for you.
So Dimitri pot raise here with King Jack. Alan and George are in the hand here. George with an ace 8, Alan with Jack 9. See if Dimitri pots it again if it gets checked to him. No, everybody checked. Turns a 5 of diamonds here. George is still good here with ace 8.
I think the big cut will win by now.
And is Dimitri? And Dimitri's now going to pot bet here on the turn. Got checked to him twice, and now he bets. He bets here 250, and he's actually on the button here. Actually, he's not. He's in the cutoff, and, and he's going to take it down there with King Eye.
Interesting email here from David. We appreciate it. David does not like pot limit. He thinks pot limit is a dying game. Thinks it's somewhat boring to watch, and he also does not like. He likes seeing all the cards. I mean, hey, we appreciate the email. We appreciate your criticism. 4 nights out of the week, we pretty much done no limit.
Right.
And we also show all the cards 4 nights out of the week. I think once in a while it's kind of fun. And to me, it really can improve not only our reading skills in terms of reading players' hands, but yours at home. Put yourself at the table and try to figure out what these players might have. Especially when it's a player like Alan or Amir or Mo, players that have played on this game so many times and you kind of know what they are like. Great way to test yourself.
Button's over here in seat 4. We're going to play his hand blind. Now, Dimitri's in the cutoff, and he's going to pot bet. He's going to make it 70 with ace 7 here, Dave. Now, Paul, again, we're going to play his hand blind on the button in seat 4. And Paul is going to... Did he just call here? Looks like he just called. Paul's called on the button.
Obviously, I have no idea what Paul was called.
Paul has raised. He's raised the pot. I thought he did, but I didn't see the chips go in.
Now, he's raised it up after Dimitri raised, right?
Right.
So he's made it looks like $380?
Yeah. So again, if we don't see this hand to the flop, we're going to see Paul's cards in the window.
Yeah, he'll just kind of brazen by the window and then throw them in the muck.
Now, Amir had the same hand as Dimitri.
Now, what might Paul do this? Remember, he's raising Dimitri. He could have a hand as weak as, say, pocket 7s, pocket 8s, all the way up to, say, ace-queen, ace-king.
Yeah.
Really anything to isolate Dimitri. He's in a great spot.
Do you know how to put that hand you did before? That would be
Now, oftentimes, I actually don't mind being to Dimitri's right because I can limp in with my big hands, have Dimitri call. Everybody else can. I can see what everybody else does, and then I can act.
Dimitri calls here, and we have got about a $500 pot going to the flop, playing Paul in seat 4's hand on the button bind. We can see Dimitri's got ace-7 out of position here.
Did you say button blind? That was good. I like that.
Here we go to the flop. Oh, there's the ace in the door, Dave.
That doesn't mean anything. I mean,
Well, I can know that Amir had the same hand, so if Paul has an ace, that's the case ace.
yeah, it's probably more likely he's got pocket 8s or pocket 9s. You'd bet. But hey,
And Dimitri's actually going to come out and bet. He's going to bet 300 here, a little under the size of the pot. Paul's going to get away from it here. Well, we never
got
saw
to see
the
his
cards.
I'm going to just guess. I mean, obviously, I'm going to guess that obviously Paul probably had somewhere in the range of pocket 8,
Yeah.
pocket maybe jacks, maybe even queens. You never know. But Paul is not a stupid player. You know what? Even against a player like Dimitri, you know what? If he's got pocket jacks and an ace comes out there, what's he going to do? He's going to call Dimitri all 3 streets?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, you know one thing I wanted to mention real quick here, Dave?
Go ahead.
There was like the umpteenth, 10,000th hottest female poker player in the world.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't think she's all that. I got to tell you.
You know, thread over on the TV or the World Poker Tour, etc. thread. And apparently Jean Gluck, either it's a gimmick account or she actually posted up. And she started talking to people. And, of course, I put my 2 cents in offering the fact that I would have her in the booth here anytime. Once I found out she was half Korean.
I
thought was
know.
love.
Did you? I mean, you really think she's that hot?
I think she's cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, she doesn't do anything for me. Not a darn thing.
I need to find.
She got nothing on my girl.
Now, we had a pot raise here by Dimitri.
Little Freudian slip there, huh?
Ace-3, and Barry called with ace-8. So king deuce 10 here. Both players have missed. Dimitri heads up against Barry. And look at this. He goes check, check. Mo is not in the hand. Now, here we go to the turn. The turn is an
Turns
8.
an 8. Yeah, Barry's got the best hand.
Yeah. Alan is in seat 5. He's on the button. We're playing his hand blind. And now Barry's going to come out and bet with ace-8. He's going to bet 200.
Now Alan checked the flop. Probably means he's got nothing. He shows. What does he show? Like ace jack?
See if we can see that. Pocket 5.
Pocket 5s. Easy lay down there. And the funny thing is, if you get it, if it's checked to you and you have pocket 5s on the button, why not take a shot at it?
Right.
Because if he bets the flop, he probably takes it down.
Like I said, I wasn't, I didn't really pay attention to Ms. Gluck all that much until I found out she was half Korean. Then I took a good look at it.
Of course.
And Button's going to move over here to Barry Woods in seat 6.
Once again, we're playing pot limit hold'em. Blinds are 10 and 20. I'm David Zuckman here with Bart Hansen, and you are watching Live at the Bike. Uncensored, unedited, live and unscripted.
Now I have to supposed to be scared, right? No.
Hey, we'll have her in the booth, right?
Huh?
We'll have her in the booth, right?
Yeah, where will I be? Will it be during the show, or you just be a little private party for you and her?
See? I should have with you.
Button's going to move over here again to Barry Woods. We're playing his hand blind in seat 6.
We'll have the cameras going. We'll sell Live at the Bike as a porn site.
Dimitri's going to raise the pot here out of seat 3.
It's not a bad idea. We might our ratings might go through the roof for that one.
$50 raise here by Dimitri, and Barry's going to call. Mo calls. Dimitri's got pocket queens here, Dave.
Yo.
Now we're playing Barry Woods' hand blind. Matt is out of the hand. We've got Mo, Barry Woods, and Dimitri. Here we go to the flop. Well, it's all rags here. 8-6-4. Mo's got top 2 pair. He's going to bet 100. He's going to build this little pot out. He bets 100 right into Dimitri. Let's see what Dimitri's going to do here. Again, 8-6-4 with 2 clubs on the flop.
Remember, you also can't check raise
Right.
big here. The best way to build yourself a pot if you want to get in on the flop is to bet, have your opponent raise you, and then you can pop him back.
And Dimitri raises.
Exactly why Mo bet into him.
Dimitri makes it 400 total, and we don't know what Barry has. He's still in the hand over there.
And look at this.
Oh, my.
Might he have a club draw, you think?
He actually made it 350. So the pot now, Barry calls. And Mo's going to re-raise here. It's about a $1,000 pot, and how much is Mo going to raise?
And I got to tell you, this hand was played to perfection by Mo so far. Absolute perfection.
He wants to raise the pot here, Dave.
And he can make it 340 call plus the pot, so you're talking about $1,400 or so. And sure enough, it's
1,500 more or so.
1,530 total, yeah.
So the pot now is about $2,800. And it's
$1,200 to call.
$1,200 to call. It's pretty much going to put Dimitri all in, I would say.
Yeah,
and there he goes. He's all in, and whatever draw Barry has, unless it's something big. See if we can see Barry. I saw 110. Maybe the dealer. No, we're not going to see it.
And I tell you, if you want to know how to play pot limit strategy-wise,
Yeah.
it's a great way to play the hand there. Remember, if Mo checks it, Dimitri can only bet the pot.
Right.
And then Mo can only raise the pot, and you don't build your pot. But by Mo throwing 100 in there, he gets all the money in on the
Here we
flop.
go, $5,000. We're going to see a turn card here pretty soon.
You have a set. I'm not going to tell my. You want to make a deal?
Oh, now Dimitri wants to make a deal with
I
Mo.
have a pocket pair, high pair, and huge pair.
Okay. I show my hand, we make a deal.
Okay.
2 pairs.
What do you want to make? 3 times. All right.
All right, they're going to run it 3 times here, Dave. It's a $5,000 pot divided by 3. The turn is a 5 of clubs. Dimitri's got a queen of clubs. The river's a 3. Mo wins the first one. Turns a
full
6.
house for
Mo
Mo.
fills up. Mo wins the second one. Turns a 3. We need a club
Club or
or a
4.
And there's a 4, and Dimitri is going to
Win that third one.
Third one. So a quick way to calculate this is basically, it was a $5,000 pot. Let's call it $4,500 to make things simple. Mo's going to win $3,000 of it. Dimitri's going to win $1,500 of it.
Exactly.
And anybody that's plays in a home game that might do this or plays in this game, a quick way the people at the casino do this is basically you split the main pot into thirds.
Right.
Mo wins 2/3 of the main pot. Dimitri wins 1/3 of the main pot, and then you take 1/3 of Dimitri's stack
Right.
and give it to Mo. As long as Mo covers Dimitri.
Right.
Exactly.
And if Mo doesn't have him covered, then you take whatever Mo has, you take that money aside, and you take 1/3 of that. Dimitri gets 1/3 of. Actually, Dimitri gets 2/3 of his stack.
Right.
And gives 1/3 to Mo.
Exactly. Yeah, and a lot of people confuse that with, Dimitri gets, or Mo gets 2/3, but Mo actually only gets 1/3
of Dimitri's money.
Dimitri's
Right.
stack.
And people misconstrue that. They go, wait a second, I should get more of your money.
Right.
No, remember, you're not putting your money in the pot.
Right.
So.
And the funny thing is, actually, I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago on my way home. Quick ways to think about it. If you win 2 and push the third, say Mo went 2 and it was a tie on the third, Mo would win
5-6.
He would win. Yeah, he would win whatever that pot is. Give 5/6 of the pot, basically, and he would win 2/3 of Dimitri's stack. I don't want to confuse
Actually,
everybody.
5/6s, right?
He would only win 2/3
Right.
of Dimitri's stack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's funny. People always think you should win more money. If you think about it, if let's say the total pot is $9, right?
Right.
Well, that's $3 of your money, $3 of their money. Okay. It's actually, let's say it's $4.50 of each person's money. You're only actually going to win like $1.50 there. It's kind of a weird way to look at it, but you're not necessarily net winning your money back.
Right.
Kind of a way to look at it.
Hey, I was looking at this other thread.
Yeah.
We actually had Genocide on the show way back when, too, sometime in August, for briefly.
Yeah, she's a sweetie.
You want only this one. I had queen on the first one.
It's one of the things I always point out, though, I got to tell you, I always point out that poker players, their idea of who's hot, it's so like, you wonder where their perspective is.
Right.
Obviously, you're in a casino where you're home. If you're in a casino, it's 99% guys. Or if you're in the, if you're home, obviously, every girl looks hot to you, right? Oh, my God, look, it's a girl. Oh, my God, it's a female. Wow. To me, the hottest poker player out there has got to be, I say Melissa Caulfield. She's known as Cowgirl. Not well known, but she's smoking. Really, really smoking.
Look at this little post here by Jay Siegel, and I can't agree more. Who needs strategy when you can verbally work the table as well as Tuck does? I've seen Dave some of the best table talk while at the table with the master of along with the master of yapping, Tony G. I got to agree with you. I think it's part of your whole thing. I got to tell you, I'm really kind of quiet at the table, but you're a yapper.
I don't know what you're talking about. I claim complete ignorance and innocence.
You are definitely a yapper.
It wasn't me, okay? Go away. Back to the game. I did nothing. I take no blame whatsoever. That's great. Great post by Chicken Tender on the next Inside Straight. How to play Jack 7 and bare knuckle boxing.
Paul's going to pot raise here. He's going to pot raise with ace 3 of clubs. And look at Alan. Alan's going to call with king 5 of hearts. We need to see Dimitri's cards. We don't see. He's in the hand in seat 3. And maybe it was Dimitri that pot raised it. Dimitri did pot raise it. Jack 9-4 on the flop. Ace 3 of clubs for Paul. King 5 of hearts for Alan. See if Dimitri makes that continuation bet here.
Yeah, we have no idea what Dimitri has. You think maybe Dimitri wants to show us his cards? Possibly.
He's going to pot bet it here. And both players are going to take it down. Maybe we can see it now after he wins the pot.
And Dimitri does not want to show.
Maybe the dealer can show it.
Nope, we're not going to say it. You know, it's funny, obviously. Without these players, we don't have a show.
Right.
You know, we rely on our base of players, and let's say we've got, obviously, a lot of players that come in. But, you know, if a player is down a significant amount of money, the last thing we want to do is alienate them.
Right. Let's take a look at a chip count here. Almost 50,000 at a 10-20 pot limit game on the table.
This is huge. I mean, this is almost like playing like a 25-50 game. It's so big.
Let's take a look at the differences here. Oh.
Amir's still up almost 8,000.
Wait a minute. Allen's down 13,000?
No, actually, we kind of messed it up there. It's actually Dimitri that's down about 13,000. He was in seat 5. Allen is probably down 5,500 though. I think we mixed those up.
I have played in casinos, American casinos, for the last 14 years, guaranteed. I landed so much money.
Limped around here, Dave.
Other people. And you didn't get it back. It doesn't matter whether I got it back or not. It's funny when I have.
Now we're going to play Matt's hand blind. Again, we cannot see Dimitri's cards in seat 3, but we're going to let this slide. King 3 deuce here with a couple diamonds.
Fuck American casino.
And Dimitri's going to pot bet it here in seat 3.
Well, this will be interesting. We can always guess what Dimitri has. We can guess who has the button.
Paul quickly folds pocket 6s here, Dave. George folds.
And Dimitri's going to take it down.
And he shows...
Deuce something.
Deuce 10? Deuce queen. Queen
okay.
deuce. So
Pair
Paul
of
did fold the best
He actually had the best hands.
No, Paul actually had pocket 6s.
Did he? Okay. He doesn't want to get involved.
Just want to fuck you.
Button's going to move over here to George.
You ask him for the favor, what is going to cost?
Button's going to move to seat 9.
Yeah, fucking 14 years. High limit.
My league, though. You win more
You think you guys going to kill me?
5 hands and 13 now.
She's got nothing on my guy. That's right, Chuck.
Little Freudian slip. 5-4 for Barry. He's going to limp in. George is on the button. He's not going to play it.
Now,
and
look at this.
Dimitri's going to raise.
Paul limped with ace-queen. Let's see if he's going to limp, re-raise the pot. Dimitri's going to raise to 80. Again, we can't see his cards.
And Paul's got to decide, do I really want to make a stand here with ace-queen? Do I want to isolate? And I think he does.
Yep, he's going to isolate. He's going to limp, re-raise. Dimitri has pocket 5s here.
Wow, he's ahead.
Yep.
Now, the odds of him hitting a set are very slim. Obviously, we already see 1-5 dead, but he is ahead.
Barry's got 4-5 offsuit. I'm not exactly sure what he's thinking about.
It's a pretty easy fold when Paul re-raises you there. Paul could easily have aces here. He limped in and then raised knowing Dimitri would raise.
And Dimitri makes a quick call, and we've got a $450 pot going to the flop. Here we go.
And Paul is missed.
King 9-8 here.
But how does Dimitri play this with pot 5s, you know? I mean, what can you beat? You can't beat ace-king anymore. Looks like he's going to put a little feeler bet out there. it's not a bad place to put a bet out there. You put some money out there and see.
And Dimitri's going to pot bet here. He's going to bet about 450 to 500.
It's not a bad bet. I mean, some people go, Dimitri's a maniac, but that's actually a pretty good bet because you got to think, you know what? If Paul's got jacks or queens or tens, the king might scare him. And at the same time, if Paul is missed, what am I going to do? Check and call? This way, Dimitri's he's almost risking the minimum and getting a lot of information. It really puts Paul in a tough spot.
Let's call it a $500 bet.
Pot's 1,000?
Pot's 1,000, 500 for Paul to call. And you can see Dimitri maybe has about another 1,000 to 1,200 left. Paul's trying to get a read here. But that's an awful flop for ace, queen, king, rag, rag.
And against Dimitri, you just don't know. I mean, it's one of those things, if there was no limit, you'd probably take your chances and just go, well, I'm all in on before the flop. But right now, I don't think Paul can get involved, and he's not going
to. Paul folds.
Nice bet by Dimitri there. Now, you wonder if Paul would have gotten involved in, say, pocket tens or pocket jacks. Obviously, that hand's a lot better.
Jay Siegel says, Bart will send Dave out to the floor to interview the candy girl when Miss G gets into the booth. There you go. Yeah, you can do that. Come on, Miss Gluck. Come over to the bike. I like that name, Gluck. Half Korean, half Russian Jewish. Interesting
Russian,
mix.
Jew, Korean?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is a mix.
Button's going to move over here to C3.
Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson. This is Friday night, so this is it for this week. But you can catch us next week, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m.
Yeah, and you can actually watch the replay of this show on Sunday afternoon and every show that we've had this week starting at noon Pacific time.
Right.
Button's got Dimitri there, so we're going to play his hand blind in seat number 3. And Amir here's got 7-3 of spades in the cutoff. And Ed's going to raise here to 100. We need to see his cards in seat 1.
Who knows what Ed has? I'm not sure how much money Ed has behind either. Try to get word of what Ed is playing. Obviously, his money is coming.
And Ed actually tried to raise it to 100, but we are playing pot limit. He's going to make it 70. See if we can get Ed's cards in the window there.
And is he playing what? 1,000? 2,000? No.
He's got ace-10 of clubs here, Dave. We've put Dimitri's hand up. He's on the button, and we can see he's got ace-king. So if Dimitri has ace-king here.
It's funny. Ronnie said that he would bet us $500 that he wouldn't do it the entire night.
Yeah.
And obviously it's very difficult,
right.
Really, really difficult not to put it up because he's just manually just putting the cards in. But we knew it would happen once.
And Dimitri here, is he going to re-raise the pot? Yep, he's going to re-raise the pot here. Now, is Ed privy to this information? Now, Ed's got ace-10 of clubs in seat 1.
Well, Ed does know Dimitri, but he doesn't know how Dimitri's been playing tonight. He doesn't know Dimitri's stuck $13,000. Unless Mo's told him.
So a re-raise here by the pot, which Dimitri's pretty much done with any 2 cards, and he's picked up a real hand here with ace-king.
Yeah, well, you know what? He's going to get ace-king and aces and kings just as much as everybody else.
So Ed needs to call, looks like maybe 200 more.
And Ed obviously not real experienced at pot limit.
Right.
Trying to figure out how to do this. And it looks like he's going to call, and he's in bad shape. Ace-king versus ace-10.
Now, how much is Ed behind? We're looking at about a $600 pot. Ed doesn't really have any chips in front of him.
He's got another 1,000 behind him.
Well, king, queen, jack, and Ed props a straight, and Dimitri's got top pair and a straight draw.
How does that happen?
Wow.
And I got to tell you, what a miracle flop for Ed here, and he's going to double up.
The pot is $600 here, folks. And Ed checks, and Dimitri pot bets it.
Yeah, and Ed's going to move all in, I assume, and Dimitri's
If Ed only has 1,000 behind, yeah.
Yeah, and this is pretty much a no-brainer. Now, Dimitri can chop this pot, obviously, if a 10 falls, and he can only win it with running cards. And you see that's why he has a 2% chance of winning the pot.
Right.
And they have a 13% chance of chopping it up.
Which is good. Then I don't have to show my hand.
Okay, then $100 more, and then we'll make it the whole pot. I'm all in.
So Ed's all in here. And, Dave, this pot is going to be about $2,400.
I mean, do you really like this flop if you have ace-king? I know Dimitri likes it.
Yeah.
Do you?
It's a tough one to play.
I mean, if you raised and you got called, and this is the flop coming out, I mean, what can you beat? You know what I mean? You've got top pair with a gut shot straight draw. You've got to assume that your opponent might have a set, might have 2 pair. Who knows? I mean, I got to hate this flop.
You should have 100.
I still have 100. You didn't agree for me.
I don't want to agree.
Okay, don't agree. Go.
Oh, here we go. Again, we need running cards.
And it's
here
funny,
for
Dimitri doesn't want to run it more than once against anybody.
Oh, look at this. The turn's a king. Dimitri could catch
An ace, a jack, or a queen.
And Ed moves all in for, I guess, the rest of the money he had. Not much more. And Dimitri's got outs now. Board pairing or that case king on the river, and that would be a horrible beat for Ed.
Yep. A jack, a queen, or a king. A jack, a queen, a king, or an ace would win it for him. A 10 would chop it for him.
And here we go to the river. Nope, it's a blank. And Ed's going to take it down there with the nut straight.
I can win on a high hand.
And I got to tell you, you know, as Ed had such bad luck on Wednesday, I'm kind of glad he finally won a pot.
Yeah.
Hasn't been here in quite a while.
I don't quite know if Dimitri realized that he lost that hand.
Trip queen, trip kings for Dimitri. I got to tell you, man, I got to give props to some of our. We got Ray, who's directing his first show tonight. He's doing a phenomenal job. We got Ronnie doing the cards, and he's been doing them for quite a while. Obviously doing a great job. And Evelyn out there is doing the camera work. And I got to tell you, the show is not missing a beat.
Pocket aces here for Amir in seat 2. Now, it's interesting. Dimitri's up from the table to his immediate left. You might limp there if Dimitri's there and pull that limp re-raise, but he's gone, though.
It's a no-brainer limp if Dimitri's in the hand, but you can't with him out. And give Amir credit for at least knowing that.
Now, Barry calls here on the big blind with Jack 10. Here we go, heads up. Wow, Amir's flop top set here. Ace, king, 9.
He's not, Barry's drawing live. If a queen were to fall, he would have the straight.
And Amir's going to pot bet it here. I like it. You're going to build yourself a pot with top set.
I think that board you have to bet it.
Actually, Amir bet 70. Excuse me.
So you bet half the pot.
Yeah. $70 bet here.
And you know what? For $70, for $70, you might call. You know, you might call hoping your opponent has ace king. I mean, obviously,
look at this. Barry
set.
thinks he's weak. He's going to check raise it up to 300 total. He makes it. And what does Amir do?
And Amir's in a good spot here now. He's in position. Might you just smooth call this?
Well, there could be some scary cards, that come on the turn.
There could be, but I mean, think about it. You've already put your price in there, and you're in position. Now, even if a scary card comes off, and if Barry is bluffing, remember, you got top set. The likelihood is that Barry does not have an ace.
The pot's about 550. It's another 300 for Amir to call. These players are both really deep, Amir and Barry.
I mean, it's not a terrible play here at all for Amir to just call and then be intent on calling no matter what comes on the turn. And if a queen comes out, hey, well, you know what? Too bad for Amir. He's still got outs, though.
There are 2 spades out there, but I think Amir is going to re-raise here.
Yeah, it looks like he is.
Going to make it 700 total. He's actually pot re-raising here.
Yeah.
I really don't mind the play. I know you say that there's a way to finagle it.
I don't mind playing it hard. I'm just saying, if you're out of position, I think you have to play it hard.
Well, but especially against a guy like Barry, who we know, he might call here with king jack, king 10.
Yeah, you know what, Barry's not. He calls some weird times, but you know what?
Gonna get away from it.
He might raise with king jack there, but he's not gonna call a re. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you think about it. Amir is bet weakly, so he's either got nothing or he's got a monster, right? Now you've raised because you think he's weak, and now he's re-raised you. I mean, I'm putting him on minimum ace king.
Button's going to move over here to seat 5. That's Allen. Again, we're not going to see. We're going to play Allen's hand blind if he chooses to play it. Limp. Paul there in the cutoff limps.
Get an
Allen's going to limp.
Post here from K. Dubam. Thank you very much on 2+2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 limpers here.
Pretty good idea. We'll see if we can do it.
$100 pot. Again, playing Allen's hand blind on the button. Jack 9 deuce rainbow.
Well, Ed's got top pair. Mo's got a gut shot with overcards. It's not a terrible flop for Mo's hand.
Ed's going to pot bet it here with ace jack. Pretty straightforward here.
Yeah.
Now, Paul has Jack 10. He's going to make the call. He also has top pair, but he's in kicker trouble.
Yeah, he's got kind of a runner straight possibilities.
And Mo makes that call here, trying to catch a king, a queen, or a 10.
And if a 10 comes off, Paul's got 2 pair, and, well, it doesn't come.
Turns a 9, and Ace-Jack is still playing here.
Yeah.
Pot's about maybe $500.
And Paul obviously realizes that he might be in kicker problems.
Yeah.
Obviously, his 10 is going to play. It's Jackson 9 with a deuce kicker.
Pot's 480, and Ed's going to pot bet here again. And what do you do here? No, Paul's just going to get away from it. You know, a lot of times against some of these players that we talk about, recreational players, guys that come here for fun, Dave. Actually, you can see the river was a 9. They would have chopped it up. When they're betting, you usually want to get away from it. And I don't mind the fold there at all. But
No, I mean,
you know.
I was actually having this conversation with Joe Wynn a little while ago, and we were talking about it. You were saying, you know, against a player that's kind of live or a player that's really mixing it up a lot, you know, you don't have to, like, win every pot against them. You can pick your spots. You know, because remember, they're going to make the mistake where you get doubled up. I mean, you saw Matt. Matt kind of like, okay, I'll throw this hand away, I'll throw this hand away, I'll throw this hand away, I don't mind. And then, boom, he doubles up. And then later on, he's top set against Dimitri's bottom set, and he doubles up again. He's only won 2 pots all night, yet he's up over $4,000. And that's the secret to winning this in this game, especially like a table like this. I mean, I'm usually a pretty aggressive player. I like to mix it up. Sometimes I like to be kind of the table captain. But at a table like this, I would be playing it much more like Matt in seat 8. And I know you would too, right? Just kind of sitting there in the brush waiting for a big hand.
Barry's going to pot raise here on the button. We're going to play his hand blind in seat 6. George is going to make the call with pocket 6s. And Ed's in there with Jack 10. So we've got about a $280 pot going to the flop. Again, we're playing Barry's hand blind on the button. He brought it in for a raise pre-flop. Rags, 8 deuce 5. Is George going to throw out a bet here from up front? No, he checked it.
And might he check raise? Let's see if Barry continues. Obviously a bad flop for Ed.
Now Barry's going to pot bet here.
Yeah.
He's going to pot bet 3 white chips here. And what is George going to do?
Pot is now $600, $300 to call.
Yeah.
If you want to raise it, you can make it $900 more. You can call it $300 and then raise it $9.
Well, George is just not even going to get involved here.
Yeah, he throws it away.
You know, if I'm George, and look at that, the turn actually would have brought a 6. If I'm George there, against a guy like Barry, I bet that. I almost bet that 100% of the time. Because if you check to him, sometimes like you say, if you check raise there and he calls you, what the hell are you going to do?
Well, you're also committing an awful lot of chips.
Yeah.
On a hand you're not sure if it's good or not. Now, if you
Right.
bet into him 300,
Right.
you get a lot of information. Now, if he makes it 300 and then you check raise him, say 1,000,
Right.
well, now you're committing $1,000 to get the same information you could have gotten for 300.
Right. Ace King here for Matt. Haven't heard from him in a while in the small blind, Dave. And did Matt folded Ace King to Mo's button raise. Wow.
You know, Matt's
Mo-
eating and maybe he's just not interested
Mo
in playing a hand.
Mo raised the pot on the button. We can't see what he has. And Matt just folded Ace King. That's Roswell on 2+2. He just didn't want to play. And let's see Mo's hand. See, I know if Donna can catch that. Jeez. Get so frustrated.
And who knows? You know what? Mo raising on the button, he could have his hand as weak as,
Right.
say, Jack 10.
Right.
Who knows? I guess, in No Limit, you can pick and choose who you play against. And I guess, Matt looks at this table and goes, there are weaker fish to fry.
Yep.
I don't need to go after Mo here. But we've actually seen Matt throw away Ace-King suited to Paul's raise in different games. Ace-King can be a tough hand to play out of position.
Limp here.
It's also a matter of, Mo knows Matt, and Matt's kind of one of those players. If he calls an ace or king flop, is he going to get any action from Mo?
I got to tell you, against a lot of players that play a loose button like Mo, I re-raise that 85% of the time, and I probably call almost 100% of the time. I'm not faulting Matt. His head wasn't in the game, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. It can be a tough hand to play. If you do re-raise it and you re-pop it with ace-king, and you get called, and you miss, well, then what do? You got to follow through with a continuation bet, and it can be tough.
Limped around here. The flop comes out ace-high, and George is going to come out and bet from the blind with ace-5, and he's going to take it down there.
I mean, oftentimes, I try to say, I look for an excuse not to play a hand out of position. I really don't want to play a hand out of position.
Yeah.
And Matt might subscribe to the same theory, and he might be looking at it, you know what? My excuse is I don't want to play against Mo. I don't want to mix it up against him. He's a solid player. I mean, I'm sure if Dimitri had raised it there, I'm sure he calls with ace-king.
What we've been told is it's small.
Well, again, the other reason why I think I shove with ace-king against Dimitri is because I don't want a flop to come out and I don't want to miss it because I think I get the best hand now with ace-king.
Yeah.
And you're right, against 9-5, yeah, I'm only about a 62% favorite, but hey, if I'm putting my money in poker trying to make a living, I take 60% favorites all the
Oh,
time.
and even more than that, you're probably closer to 2-1, and
Yeah.
you're not going to take a 2-1 edge?
Right.
Why not?
I make a big shove there with
If
ace-king.
you're not going to take 2-1 edges playing poker,
Right.
well, then you're playing too high. I mean, you need to lower your level so you're not scared.
Barry's going to pot raise here. There's a live straddle by Dimitri. And Barry's going to raise with ace-9, and Dimitri's got ace-10 in the straddle spot. And he bought in for 5,000 more here. And is Dimitri going to re-raise the pot? He does. He's going to re-raise the pot, and Barry's got ace-9 here.
And once again, I mean, you pick your spots against it. And ace-9, the only problem with ace-9 is, yeah, it might be the best hand right now.
And Barry makes the call.
But
Here
it's
we
hard
go.
to know where you're at. You really want to make a stand with this hand.
$900 pot. King, queen, 3, couple clubs. Dimitri's got a gut shot to the jack.
And not only is Dimitri ahead, he's also got the only draw. Barry's drawing dead to a 9. He can also have running clubs.
I mean, the way that Barry played this with ace-9, like you said, crazy players, aggressive players pick up some big hands sometimes. Let's say that flop came out ace-deuce-deuce. Is Barry going to double Dimitri up with ace-9?
Guaranteed. Well, and so would you. So would I. If you're in there with ace-9, come on. I mean, I know we always rag on him, but if you're in there with ace-9 against Dimitri and somehow you're in the pot, you might have folded.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. You wonder if you might pick better spots.
Yeah.
Has Dimitri been that out of line in the straddle spot, making re-raises?
I agree with you, but in the end, if you're in the pot,
If you're in the pot, yes.
and the
I
flop
think
comes
he's
out
a
with an
bro-
ace,
Yeah.
against a lot of players, you get away from ace-9.
Right.
But against Dimitri, if the flop comes out ace-deuce-deuce and I have ace-9, hey, he's going to get my chips.
Dimitri shows him ace-10, but that was good anyways. Barry lays it down.
But I see what you're saying. I mean, it's the same point I was making in the sense of, there are hands to kind of pick your spots, and there are hands not to.
Hold on. Since 1998. No. Really? Since 1998.
There's Dimitri. And I gotta tell you, if I'm in there with ace-9 and then ace flops and Dimitri bets, I think I just smooth call all the way to the river too. I never raise. I just let him keep betting at it. Hope to God I have the best hand, right?
Oh,
If
yeah,
you're in
definitely.
there, you just call.
Get 100 total.
No point in raising, because
Yeah.
you only, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't let. I believe it.
Amir is gonna pot raise here out of the small blind pre-flop. He's
With
got
the money I
ace-jack.
lose, you cannot put me anywhere else.
Ed is on the button here. We can see his cards. Ace-6. Ronnie.
Okay. Now what happened to my ring?
Hey, so is that $500 per time, Ronnie?
Yeah.
That would be 1,000. Wow, 500 apiece. We're doing pretty well tonight.
Three-way action here. 10-3-9 here. Mo's in the hand with 6-8. Ed's in there with ace-6, and the flop misses everyone. Mir bets 200 here.
No. I'm paying this.
And I don't think anybody's going to call here, Dave. And Amir's going to take it down there with the ace-jack.
Come here.
Your wife actually got credited in some more of those minor passions rules, huh?
She actually has a reacurring role right now in the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it as a principal reoccurring, or is it like an under 5 reoccurring?
It's
Because I know
an
the
under
scale is
5.
different.
It's an under 5 right now that
Yeah.
they're considering developing into a bigger role.
Oh, sit down.
It's pretty cool.
We'll see what happens. Who knows?
Does your mother-in-law have some influence there on the casting?
I wish she did.
Really?
Yeah, that would be awesome. But she doesn't.
No, not at all.
Well, I mean, she obviously friends with them,
Right.
but she doesn't.
Here's the creative.
Ed's got ace-king in seat 1.
What's the total now? How much can I bet? How much do you want to raise it?
How much you want to raise? You
Ed wants to raise the pot here. He's got big slick offsuit. We're playing a Mir's hand blind on the button.
It's 20
So it's a $70 open raise here. And Amir's going to call. Again, we're playing his hand blind. Dimitri's got deuce 4 of hearts in the small blind here. And
Good or bad? That's bad.
is he going to re-pop it, the pot here? He's going to re-raise the pot with deuce 4 suited out of position here, Dave. A re-raise. And again, for Ed
You
here-
sound surprised.
Wow. And we don't know what Amir has. Now, is Ed going to call here, or is he going to re-raise? So he's going to make it 300 more. And let's see what Ed does. Ed's not that deep here, Dave. He's going to make the call. Well, he might have a $1,000 chip there. It's tough to tell.
Ed's not getting away from Ace King. Not a chance.
Don't show an ace, okay? Don't show an ace. Don't show an ace. Oh, wait. I mean, I'm waiting for it. It's okay. It's a psychological reverse.
So Ed calls. And the pot is now close to $1,000.
670 is the next raise.
Amir folds. So here we go. Deuce 4 of hearts out of position. Dimitri, the original pre-flop re-raiser. Here we go. There's the ace. Dimitri is totally whiffed here.
Yeah, and Dimitri is close to drawing dead. I mean, he's got almost absolutely nothing.
Now, we always talk about fast playing. I think if I'm Ed, especially with the ace of clubs, I call all the way home here.
Definitely, there's no point in raising
Yeah.
this.
Dimitri, yeah, now Ed's going to raise to 1,400. Dimitri bets 700. Ed's going to raise.
I can do that, right?
Yes, you can. You can actually make it more than that.
You
Ed.
got to remember, I mean, the pot is already big enough, and obviously in pot
Yeah.
limit, if he checks to you, yes, you have to bet to build a pot.
Right.
But he's now bet into it. He's already bet 700, which means the pot's going to be close to 1,800. You can check. You can just call, then call on the turn, and then get all your money in the river.
Oh, yeah.
You're in position. You're not really scared of anything because you have the ace of clubs in your hand. If he has an ace, he's not going to get away from it anyway. He's going to continue betting.
Right now, bring another one. Until he wins another
And now,
one.
I mean, Dimitri's obviously, he's got nothing. He's got 4 high, and he has to throw this away.
That was pretty funny because we had a poster here on 2+2. I'm Ben who said, "Tuck, your wife is pretty hot." Ooh,
No, in 15 minutes. Only behind it. What was that?
look at that. Link to your wife.
There you go.
And then someone said, "Fix your post. Link to your wife," and it was my profile on 2+2.
But who sent the real link? I'm Ben. Okay.
Dimitri hasn't folded here yet. I mean, we're just assuming that he's going to fold here, Dave. We see the cards.
He's folding. Come on, it's Ed. You guys got to know that there's no fold equity here, right? He's got to know there's absolutely no fold equity. He's just playing around.
1,800.
Just trying to save face, maybe.
I want to know how much do I have to call? To call what? 7?
Well, Ronnie owes us 1,000, and he's betting 1,000 that he's not going to fold. Well, I'll double enough on that one. I think he folds. So if I win, if we win, do we win 2,000 from Ronnie?
Like that, yeah. $5 less than 1,100.
Yeah, Ronnie's saying that I win a red vine if I win. You can tell that Dimitri doesn't have a big hand because every time Dimitri has a big hand, he scratches his nipples. Remember? He scratches his chest. And there he's actually what? He's not. Did he say I raise?
No, he hasn't done anything yet.
Oh, I thought he said I raise. I was like, are you kidding me? I would have to go out and buy a red vine for him. Remember that show when Dimitri was scratching his chest every time he had a big hand? That was the funniest thing I ever saw. I'm still waiting for that tonight. Cap off another great night alive at the bike.
I have to put $3,000? Is that what you're saying? To put you all in? Just put 700.
To put you all in, what do I have to do? 2,500 total with this.
And I tell you, at the table, everybody's probably wondering what's going to happen. And we're just sitting here like, blah, blah, blah.
We put 1,800 more.
Trying to figure out how much he needs to put Ed all in. It's
He's
another
not figuring out
3,000.
anything. He's just jerking off. Okay. What soap opera were you on again?
I did some little work on Days of Our Lives, one time on Passions and Young and the Restless. Nothing ever recurring.
Soap star. Bart Hansen.
He's still thinking about it.
He's not thinking. He's just kind of trying to save face and playing around. He's trying to make them. He's
been
just
a while.
He's just making Ed sweat. I tell you, if he moves all in,
No, don't even say it. I don't want to
he
hear it.
moves all in,
I don't wanna
I
hear
will
it.
shave my head bald, completely bald.
Come on, Dimitri.
To the skin.
Ah, he folds. Yeah.
Come on, Ronnie, give me a red vine. Thank you.
$2,000.
Yeah, $2,000. Instead of $2,000, we get one red vine each. Thank you. There
I
you
already
go.
ate mine.
Hey, if you work for Red Vine, think of sponsorships. There we
Yeah,
go.
Absolutely.
Ding, ding, ding.
Button's going to move over here to Dimitri in C3.
Nice email here from Josh. You want to read it?
I will here in a second. I've learned way more from watching Live the Bike than any other poker show on TV. Poker on TV sucks. I was listening to the circuit with Mark Safe. He said how the PPT broadcasts were going to be so good, but from the preview show I saw, the tournament coverage was not that good at all. With that said, what are the odds of your show ever getting national television? Oh, look at this. Kings and aces. Look at... I got to interrupt myself. George just got kings. He limped. And did Ed limp with aces, too? No!
Well, no. See, limping with aces in this game, you have to. I don't.
Yeah, but Ed's in late position after 3 limpers.
No. Dimitri's in the hand, though, bud. Come on. You cannot be a double standard there, Bart. No way.
All right, let's see if
Dimitri's
some of the
behind
money
you.
goes in here. Jack 9.
You wouldn't have limped in with aces thinking Dimitri's going to raise?
I'm just... Hey, maybe I jumped the gun there. I'm just saying what could have been there with George and Ed. Could have all won
It's
in
still
3
going to
bucks.
be there. Look, the flop's Jack 9-3. Still going to happen.
George is going to bet the pot. Now, the funny thing here, George knows Ed real well. Ed might raise here with, say, Queen Jack, King Jack.
Of course he will. I think the money's going in here. Both players are very deep. Remember, Ed just won another big pot, and both players have a lot of money behind him.
I think Ed just called. And Dimitri's going to call. I can't even figure out what draw he has with deuce 4.
He's got runner, straight draw, and flush draw.
Wow. Pot's about $400 here.
Here,
We
here comes
really
the 5 of hearts. Watch.
turns to 6.
Okay, 5 of hearts on the river. Sorry.
Is Ed going to raise here the turn? George's going to bet the pot now again. He bets 300. Or about 350 here.
And the pot is now 700, 350 to call, or he can raise, and
now-
he's going to raise.
Yeah, but now Ed's going to raise, and I think George's going to get away from it for 2 pair. I mean,
Wow.
you don't think that Ed could have Jack 6 here?
He could easily have Jack 6. But I can't say I fault the play of limping in, though, with Dimitri in the game. You've got to think you're limping in, thinking Dimitri's going to make it, raise the pot. He's done it all night.
And Ed raised, and George called here immediately. And this pot is approaching $2,000 here. Here we go to the river. The river's a 7. It's a 3rd spade.
Yeah, anybody with an...
And this one's just going to go check, check. Wow.
And I got to tell you, George really, really escaped there. He got
Yeah.
lucky. Got lucky Dimitri decided not to raise that one hand.
Oh, man. Because George probably would have limp re-raised, and Ed would have come over the top. And I think George would have been pretty much
Oh, the
got all
money
his
would
money in there.
Yeah, it probably would have gone, raise pot to 120. Then George re-raises it to, like, say, 400. Then Ed re-raises to 800, and then George moves all the money in, and it's a huge pop.
Wow.
George should go kiss Dimitri right now.
We got about 5 minutes left in the show, Dave. Time for a couple more hands. Hope you enjoyed our experiment. You can check us out on Monday. As always, Monday through Friday, live at the bike. Stream live cash games every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 Pacific time. Catch us out on a replay starting an hour after the show, going all the way out until the next day at 5 p.m. Pacific time, as well as Sunday starting at noon Pacific time, the entire week on a replay.
Yeah. It's really been a phenomenal week of poker. Wednesday night's game was just outrageous. Tonight's game is fabulous. Poker this week has really been great. So check it out on Sunday. Also, check out our website. Go to www.liveatthebike.com. We've got a bunch of features. We've got my blog, Under the Gun. We've got our bios. We've got poker news. We've got terminology. You can go to As Seen on Live at the Bike.
Add us to your MySpace friends list by going to myspace.com/liveatthebike.
Hey, has anybody ever Skyped us yet?
Yes, you can Skype us as well.
Have we gotten a lot of Skypes?
We've gotten several Skypes.
We have, because I haven't heard them. I'm waiting for
it was
them.
only me and Mama. I wasn't going to take it.
Oh, people just IM us. Okay. Somebody's got to leave a voice message for
There are
us.
certain people on this table.
If it's good, we might use it on the show.
Limped around here 6 ways. Alan, we're going to play Alan's hand blind on the button. And the flop comes out Jack 5-5. Now look at this, seat number 7. Mo, he's got 3-5. Now, it's a rainbow board. And Mo loves to slow play trips and sets. He got killed on Wednesday. And we're going to see a $120 bet here by Barry. Barry Woods is going to come out and bet with pocket sixes. And now Mo is going to mini raise here.
I like the bet by Barry. It's not a bad bet at all. It's sixes there. Why not?
Now, the only hand we can't see is Allen's hand. Now, he's going to fold.
He does not have a jack or a 5,
Now,
obviously.
Barry calls. Wow. I just don't know. Here we go to the turn. The turn's an ace.
Yeah, what can you beat? You can't beat a jack and you can't beat a 5. There's no draw there whatsoever. I mean, what do you think Mo is making this play with?
Mo's going to bet 300.
And Barry's got to realize that. Barry's trying to make it 100. Like, it makes a difference.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you just got to look at the board and go, this guy raised me on that board. What the heck can I beat?
And Mo takes it down there.
Now, Mo is really good at reading players. You wonder, though, if Barry had come over the top of him and re-raised him, does Mo get involved? I mean, he had 3-5. He had really probably the worst 5 you could have.
Well, I'm still waiting for that, that little article or under the gun here, MySpace blog that you're going to write. Interesting situation happened with Dave. When you have trips and you know your kicker isn't going to play and you're facing an all-in bet, what kind of odds do you need to take with one card to come, knowing that you're either going to chop or lose? How often do you have to put the guy on a hand of chop hand versus you versus him winning the hand and say, what are the pot odds? If you're getting 3-1, do you have to chop it only say 80% of the time?
This is a great tease. That's my next blog. Okay. I'm going to let people enjoy this one for a couple of days, and I'll put that one up probably on Tuesday. How's that? And then on Thursday, I'll put up the blog about the fight. Maybe nothing eventful will happen for me for 5 days, and I can actually just write those two.
Dimitri's going to pot bet it here, pot size raise.
All day in the office.
He's got Queen 10 off suit. And Barry Woods is going to call. We're playing his hand blind on the button.
That'll be interesting.
George is in there with a little 3-4 of spades.
Now, Barry on the button, obviously. Now, Paul on the button, you pretty much have a little more gauge of what he might have. Barry on the button, he really could have any 2 cards here.
Ed's out of there. Dimitri raised with Queen 9, excuse me. Here we go. It's about a $450 pot to the flop.
7 high, 7-5 deuce, rainbow.
George is open-ended here, Dan.
That's a nice flop for George. He's got backdoor spades, and it's a rainbow flop. So if a 6 or an ace were to come, he knows he's got the goods there.
And Dimitri's going to pop bet 500 here. Continuation bet. He has absolutely nothing. Again, Barry Woods is in the hand over there in seat 6. He's on the button. We don't know what he has, and Barry calls.
Wow.
He calls, and now what is George going to do?
And what information do you get there? I think George
calls. Wow. $2,000 pot.
What might Barry have here? Now, he's just called, so you probably wouldn't put him on a 7. You might put him on a 5. You might just put him on overcards.
$2,000 to the turn. The turn's an 8. Gives George a flush draw now.
And now is open-ended. The 6 is kind of a garbage straight.
Yeah.
Now you really want an ace or a spade. The 6 is worthless almost for George there.
It's a $2,000 pot here. And Dimitri is going to bet 900. So it's 2,900, 900 to call. Barry's still in the hand. And Barry looks like he is going to raise.
Might Barry have 6-8? Might Barry have, say, 8-9? I mean, do you think maybe Barry had 8-9, had overcards with a gut shot? I mean, you're trying to think of what Barry might have here. Remember, he just smooth called the flop. Now, he rarely slow plays. Might even have a hand as weak as 8-7, and now he's turned 2 pair.
So he raises, and George still has a monster hand. $900 bet, raise it up to $2,000. The pot now is $4,900, $2,000 for George to call, and George is getting about 2.5 to 1.
But you don't know if the ace is good, even.
You don't know if the 9 is good.
6, you mean?
Yeah, excuse me. You don't know if the 6 is good.
I mean, is it crazy to think Barry's got 6-4 here? I mean, remember, he just called. Now, Barry's a pretty aggressive player when he's got a hand on the button.
George folds. And we need to see Barry's hand this time. So if you're out
After
there,
the
Donna, catch it.
The table doesn't need to see it, but we do.
Right.
Now, I mean, what kind of hand do you put him on? I'm not going to put him on a 7 here. I'm going to put him on either 8-9 or 6-4, specifically 6-4. He was open-ended, and he caught his hand right away.
Well, I think Dimitri's Hollywooded up here again.
Well, this time at least he's got a draw. If he catches a 6, he has a gut shot to the straight.
can happen, I split with you.
Now, a lot of players would slow play the 6-4 here, but Barry doesn't usually slow play. Why don't we take a look at Barry's cards now? I think we've got enough time for everybody to kind of guess what he might have.
And he bet 2. Take the 9 out. You got it.
Mo is overridden you, Dave.
Now what do I do? You're 11.
And what is Dimitri doing here?
See, Mo has overridden us, but he doesn't realize the hand's over.
Right.
We know what he doesn't know. So what do you think? What do you think Barry's got here? I mean, people at home, what do you guys think Barry has?
He
What do you put him on?
He might have 7-8. He might
7-8?
have 6-4.
You don't think he'd raise with 7-8 on the flop? He might have just called it 7-8. I'd buy that. What about 8-9? Overcards with a gut shot?
Possibly.
On
But
the
again,
flop?
though, if Dimitri ever had an over pair, there's no fold equity there. But let's see here. Dimitri's cutting out chips.
I mean, would he raise it up to 2,000 with 8-9? I mean, is there a chance Barry's making a move here?
Hi.
Is there a chance Barry's making a move with absolutely nothing? What do you think?
There you go.
And I tell you, Dimitri, he was meant for Hollywood. He just loves the camera time, soaking it up.
He wants to, bet.
I tell you, if Dimitri wasn't so good for the games, this would drive us crazy. But he's so
Right.
good for the games, we put up with it.
Again, Barry's hand is blind. He's raised the turn. And Dimitri moves all in.
Uh-oh. And
And Barry calls.
I think Barry's got 6-4.
Can we see Barry's hand? Can he put it in the window? Well, here we go to the river.
Yeah.
Here we go to the river. The river's a 4.
And Dimitri's got queen high. That's all he has is queen high. You got to assume that Barry can beat that. And
Barry's got pocket 5s.
Okay.
He flopped a set.
And he slow played it. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, what a horrible. Well, river there. I mean, a 6 would have had a straight. And he's going to take down a huge pot.
Dimitri was drawing live there, and look at that big pot. Dimitri, we thought he was Hollywooding it up, but he actually tried to make a move on Barry. It did not work.
Let's point out this factor here. If an ace comes on the turn, Barry goes broke against George, right? Right?
Say that again? If
If an ace comes on the turn, Barry Woods goes broke against George, right?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
A 6 he probably gets away from, but an ace he can't get away from.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. I hope you enjoyed.
Wow, what a
tonight.
night of
Little
poker,
pot
man.
limit hold'em.
Absolutely phenomenal.
And, a little experimental, no button. We didn't see the button's cards.
That's great.
And so, again, you can check us out on a replay, as always. Another week down in the annals of Live at the Bike.
Or anals, as we like to say
And we'll
here.
hear more about the fight, altercation that Dave Tuckman got in on Monday. So, everybody here in the booth, and for Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
Good night, guys.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think.
I'm kidding, I'm nothing. Again, I had 6-4.
They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.